are you?
I'm doing awesome.
I'm glad we finally got to get on here and do this. I've had a lot of kind of feeling bad for this whole back and forth and not being able to narrow down a date and get back to you in a timely manner.
Oh, well, here we are.
Well, we're here now, so that's what matters, right?
Yeah, I've been wanting Veronica to join me on a live for quite a while, and I've been bugging her a bit, and I'm very thankful for you and your time. You're down in Florida right now, right?
Yes, Tampa, Florida, South Tampa to be very specific.
And then you are, but you also are up in Canada as well.
Yeah, so originally I'm from Europe. A lot of people know that my background obviously is Czech. I'm 1,001% Czech. Got family back there and whatnot. But I grew up in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Started my company, my first company about 10 years ago, and then ended up kind of just fluke happened or, stars aligned, I guess. And for the past
Flew what?
I said fluke happened,
Oh,
maybe
fluke
stars
happened. Okay.
aligned. And for the past 3, 4 years, I've been coming down to Florida to train. A lot of people know that I train with Ivan and owe a ton of my success to him, obviously, if not all of my success to him. And he's only about 30 minutes away here. So my parents moved here about a couple years ago, and then I was training with Ivan, and then we started working on base and all that stuff, and then we added staff here, and everything kind of just snowballed. And I made the kind of official move last year in June, I would say. So we're coming on a year of being in Tampa,
Okay.
but doing still a lot of the back and forth to Canada because I do have probably about 20 to 25 staff up there. So still going back and forth, lots.
And then what is the name of your company?
So the pet, we kind of decided to split the two services, I should say, into two companies. So Happy Tails was the one that was originally created. That's Happy Tails Pet Care Services. I started that about 10 years ago, and we grew to be the largest full service pet care company in Ottawa. And then I ended up, training with my own dog, or I should say, training my own dogs a little bit more seriously, competing with them. And then, word got out and I started actually offering training services. And then it just, again, snowballed from there. And about a couple years ago, we decided to start the Working Canine, which is all training focus, all training services, I should say. So now we have the two companies, Happy Tails, which is all pet care, so dog walks, boarding, cat care, reptiles. We've got vet techs on our team and whatnot.
Oh,
Uh,
Happy Tails pet, not just dog, but pet,
yeah,
everything.
everything. Yeah. So we're full service. We got vet techs to do kind of more sub-Q fluids, stuff like that. Lots of, cats who need their insulin shots, for example. That's a really big one for us.
Yeah.
And then, of course, dog walks and boarding, which is daily, of course. And then the Working Canine, like I said, it's all just dog training. And so we specialize in sport, working, and show dogs.
Fantastic. And what I'm doing right now, Veronica, is I'm sharing this to a couple different groups. And if you're watching right now, please hit that share button. And then so Working Canine, just like bite work, sport work, sun
Yeah.
protection, all that stuff.
Totally, totally. So we do all things working dog, all things show dog, all things sport dog, both in Canada and the US. And so we're super, super happy with everything, how that's going. And we're really happy that we made the decision to split those two services into two different companies because our Happy Tails team, although I have very little to do with it personally. I have a phenomenal team up in Canada that handles Happy Tails and all the staff up there. While I can really kind of, for the past couple of years, but just been really focusing on the Working Canine and showing my dogs and clients and getting them into the show ring and, trying to connect them with some of my mentors and, trying to do the best I can with training there.
Well, and you just got a new puppy as well.
I did. I did.
I
I
did
did. I
too.
did.
We got
Yes.
puppy
So
fever.
a little I was waiting for you to mention that. So yeah, we got a new puppy. Haven't had a puppy in, well, Yeti was the youngest. He's a 16-month-old Malinois, and Sela is her name. She's a now almost 12-week-old Doberman puppy who is primarily going to be a conformation dog, which is kind of funny because my other dogs are all bite work and protection and Malinois, of course. And then I went back to Dobermans. I've had a couple Dobermans in my time, and I really, really do enjoy the breed. So I decided to reach out to Teresa and Greg at Conquest Dobermans, who are phenomenal breeders, and they've got phenomenal dogs in really, really great standings. And started, talking with Teresa for the past couple of years, I would say. Well, maybe 2 years. Let's not say that many years, but finally the breeding, a breeding happened that she was like, you need to get in on this. And so flew back with a dog.
Yeah, when a breeder says that, especially when a reputable, responsible breeder, and God bless them, if you're a breeder out there, that's it's hard work, and we appreciate you as dog lovers, and keep up
Oh,
what you're doing.
totally. No, I mean, Teresa and Greg have been phenomenal. They've been excellent friends, excellent mentors, excellent breeders. I cannot say enough good things
Show
about
us the puppies. That's what.
So, oh my gosh, I know, Hillary. I
Okay,
know.
hold on. I'll give you a little bit of what you want here. I got one down here, just a little fix.
There we go. Yes, Bill's puppies are so cute.
So this is Pecan, little brown skipper key, and yeah,
So
little freak.
cute.
Trying to keep her quiet while we have a conversation here, while she's down in her crate.
Yeah.
So yeah, two different branches, the pet dog world and the working dog world. In your opinion, what do you think is the biggest difference between them?
So,
in the pet dog world, I've heard that it's mostly about like working dogs go, 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 and pet dog, it's like stop, stop, stop. It's almost,
yeah. I think that, okay, so for those of you, I guess I'll preface this, and we were talking a little bit about this before we went live, where I'm a very honest person, and none of what I say is meant to offend people, and I do apologize in advance if I do offend people with.
Get offended as you want. That's what I'd say.
I'm trying to be nice here, Bill.
People get offended over the stupidest stuff, and not only that, but sometimes they need to get offended as an interrupter to be like, hey, pay attention to this, because obviously there's something happening here. So
no, I mean, I would say, the biggest difference between pet people, let's just generalize and say pet people and working people, is they have a totally different kind of concept of what a dog is supposed to be, I guess. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I'm not trying to fluff it up a little, too much, but I am trying to,
they have a misconception of the role the dog plays and what's going on inside that dog's brain. And they anthropomorphize it, or they put human characteristics on the animal instead of looking at the animal as a predator that walks around on all four legs and sniffs butts.
Exactly. Says hi to everyone, and then that ends in a giant dog fight on leash, and then
totally.
Going, my dog was great, but now he's only reactive on leash, and or he was fine going to the dog park, and one day magically.
It's always the dog's fault, not the person's fault for bringing them into a person's world and putting them up in situations that are, just mainly human structures. And Kenzie says, hi, V. And she says, yes, offend them in the best way possible. People need to hear it. Yes, absolutely. There's a truth. And you were saying, Veronica saying how I am honest, and sometimes people take my honesty as something misintended, but the truth can be brutal sometimes.
It can. I mean, to say that I haven't had people in a very good way, honestly, cry at some sessions.
Oh my goodness.
Because it's like you open up a whole other world to them, right? You sit down with them and you go, hey, look at, for example, look at my dogs, because clearly, I mean, that's one of the reasons people reach out to me, for example, is that I'm a very big believer that if you're going to be a trainer, you better hope that you have well-trained dogs yourself, because if you can't get a hold on your own dogs, how in the world are you supposed to train other people's dogs, let alone charge for that? Who knows if people are on, obviously everyone's in different financial positions, but maybe this person has been saving up for a session with you for so long, and you go in there thinking that you're some dog trainer, and it's like you've never trained a dog to even sit in your lifetime. This is an unregulated industry. So I'm a huge believer in, if you're going to be a dog trainer and say you're a dog trainer, you better get out there and start training your own dogs and make sure that they are a good representation of what your clients want. And so, we have a conversation during these sessions, and I go, you clearly, obviously, love what my dogs are able to do or whatnot, but look at how much work it's taken, how many hours. I mean, I do this for a living. This isn't like an overnight one stop shop, quick fix. This is going to take time. And
Yes.
I mean, for me, I start with a blank slate, knock on wood, right? I'm not a 7-year-old dog that's coming to my house, let's say, starting training with all sorts of baggage. And there's nothing wrong with, adopting dogs or getting dogs later in life and whatnot. But please do not think that it is the exact same, getting a dog at 8 weeks and starting training there versus getting a dog, and then 7 years later after, I don't know, 17 bites,
Yeah.
it's going to be the same
Well,
amount of training.
the formative years versus the latter years, right? And the formative years are the format that is going to be used the whole life of the dog. And the
Yeah.
latter years, we have ingrained neural networks that have become 8-lane highways, essentially, of this behavior that
Yeah.
has become beyond reflexive. And we are supposed to take and having no idea, having a quick snapshot of this dog and this person and being paid to switch it.
Yeah.
But
In an hour.
I yeah, in an hour, or even in a
Impress
month,
you in an
or
hour.
even in a month, even in 3 months, even in a year.
Yeah.
People ask, how long will this take? And I tell them, as long as it takes.
Yeah. A lot
That's
of
a
people, I
simple
mean,
answer.
we don't have, we have a little bit of a different, I wouldn't even say different, business model, but it's pay as you go. I don't do, packages. I don't do
I
discounts.
don't either.
I don't believe in that. I don't,
No,
my time
I
is
don't even do gift
valuable.
certificates.
No, I don't do gift certificates either. I tried it for all of 3.2 seconds and I was like, no,
Yeah.
thank you, ma'am. But I'm a big believer of, it's going to take as many kind of sessions as you need. I don't know how hard you work. I don't know how much time you have available. I don't know how much, if you, obviously there's going to be a difference if we're going to do one session a month versus a board and train and then a follow up a month later,
Yeah.
make sure everything's okay. But I can't tell you how many sessions it's going to take. I can't tell you, based on your version of telling me your dog has human aggression and reactivity and all these, I don't know, inaugural, like people make up all these words and I'm like, what does this even mean? Like, just tell me what your dog's doing. Is it barking on leash? They make up all these words and I'm like, okay, so your dog's reactive as shit.
Yeah.
Like on a scale of 1 to 12, how reactive as shit is your dog?
Yeah, and then
In
I
your
ask him,
opinion.
I ask him how many dogs or people have they hurt and how
Exactly.
bad,
Does it
because
have
then I can
basic
get an idea of how intense this dog is. And if they're like, oh yeah, they put 4 people in the hospital, I'm just like, okay. But,
I'm
or
like,
if they're just like, they
no.
just charge them and just bark and look scary, then I'm just like, okay, which the
Exactly.
latter is the most cases,
And it also
Demi,
comes with breed,
um,
right?
Demi says really quick, offend me, Veronica, do it, I dare you. So
Demi is used to me giving her the cold, hard truth.
yeah, the big old brutal truth. But
Yeah.
what were you saying? I'm sorry,
No, I
Demi.
was just saying, it also comes down to understanding breed, which kind of ties into making sure that you're, getting a trainer that really does know what they're talking about.
Yes.
Obviously, I am, not so full of myself to think, I can take you to Worlds. I can take you to a certain place and then refer you off, make sure that
Yep.
your trainer does have also an understanding of where they can take you and then where does that line end, and then it's time for you to be passed on, let's say, to my mentors. For example, I have a ton of my clients that I'm like, okay, you're done with me, you go to Ivan, go with him, he's going to take you to the top now.
Yeah.
And so, for example, where breed comes in is just understanding, do you have a dog that is prone to, let's say, insecure fear biters? Let's deal with I mean, I'm not going to go into specific breeds, to be completely honest, because this is going to open a whole other can of worms. But I'm totally open.
Speaking of which, our show is sponsored by
Yeah,
NoBreedMans.com.
no, it's where I'm getting at. It's not that there is not to put any breed bans into place. It's actually more so having a trainer that understands what was your dog bred for.
Yeah.
You want.
Well, you got to understand what your dog was bred for too, man.
Exactly. And you know what? The majority of people don't. Like,
Yeah.
that is the problem.
I tell people, buying a dog without understanding what they're bred for is like buying a house without an inspection. Something's going to pop up along the way, man.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I have people who try and make their Malinois and Dutch Shepherds into golden retrievers, and I'm like, listen up here, Felicia, go get a doodle. Like, You want a dog to just hang out on the couch and go for
Holy
walks and
shit.
be, you want a dog to just be a companion. Don't get a Dutch Shepherd. Like, don't go get a,
Unless you want a stalker companion.
exactly, exactly. Honestly, I mean, all your furniture and plus more is going to be chewed up in 3.2 seconds if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think, what I'm trying to kind of get at is just make sure that you got a trainer who understands breeds and understands, or I should say knows what they're talking about.
Well,
Do your
respects them
homework. This
too.
is exactly, this is an unregulated industry. And in a world like that, I can't tell you how many dogs that I get who, I've been to X,
Amen.
Y, and Z. And I'm like, I've never
Genetics
seen him
matter.
in the show ring. I've never, okay, Brandon.
They absolutely do. He's right, man. And I've had people on here that train service dogs, some of the best in the world that
Yes.
help people. And they say we get 98% of our stock from
Yeah.
these two, litters or whatever. Like it's genetics matter, folks.
A hundred percent. You need to know what your dog was bred for, and then, if we want to go even further than that, what health complications, vet bills, like think of this. Are you going to get, for me personally, I'm indifferent to
genetic testing too.
exactly genetic testing, health testing. If you're going to go to, compete, you're going to be thinking of OFA. You're going to be thinking of, everything, the whole 9 yards. If you want to even, I'm not even going to get into breeding.
I'm going to start
But
breeding. I'm going to have a couple. I've never bred, so I've been working with some genetic freaks that are
yeah,
that are not. They're not genetic freaks. They're freaky, but they're
yeah,
freaks about genetics.
genetic
I
nerds.
should say they're total nerds. But one of
Yeah.
a doctor friend of mine is helping me out, and yeah, we're just working on that. But it's such a cool time to be alive because
Oh,
we have this technology that allows us so many more capabilities to see
yeah.
into that genetic code, to see anomalies that might pop up, to recognize red flags, so we can eliminate that possibility by not
A
breeding
hundred
this particular dog, right?
a hundred
You know,
percent. No, it's
eliminate heartache at the long end, because I've dealt with genetic problems, and they pop up, man, and it's
oh
just not
yeah,
fun. They pop up right at the wrong time too.
a hundred percent. I was literally just about to be like, and they're gonna come out of nowhere. They're gonna happen when you're in the middle of, going to a regional or something absolutely crazy. Going, you're in the middle of. I mean, look at you with your silver school, right? We were just saying you've been busting your ass, training your dogs and getting ready for silver school, and
Or gold school
our
now.
gold. Sorry,
Yeah,
gold school, and it's this COVID-19 stuff going on. It's like,
I
what's
don't
gonna
know if I don't know if they're going to lock me down, if I'm going to be able to make it there, and
yeah,
it's going to break my heart if I
totally.
can, because I've been preparing this for not just this little time, but years of wanting to do this,
100%.
and not only that, but getting my mind blown at the first course and just being like, look, I get it.
Yeah,
And I think it's accumulation of my eclectic knowledge base of what I've done up to this point, working with so many different dogs, and
yeah.
then putting it all together. And then also, I love the fact that it kind of put everything I knew and turned it on its head.
Totally.
Where this is more the working dog aspect of the training,
Yep.
and I'm trying to see how I can incorporate some of that into the pet world. Um,
Totally.
and it's up to the owner. That's what it boils down to.
It really does. It really does. I mean, a lot of people, they see something, they want it, right? How can I get that? And it's like, well, nothing. You can't buy this. You can't. I mean,
You can,
technically, you can.
but it's going to cost you.
Technically, you can, but people think that Leishka, for example, who's got, I don't know, 20 something titles on her across 2 countries, like that's not going to happen overnight.
Well,
That
even if you do buy it, it's still going to take some maintenance and management that you're going to have to be aware of,
you're going
right?
to have that. Let's say you do buy a dog that's, completely finished, for example, at 3 years old, who's got X titles or, whatnot. It's going to take, I mean, there's an adjustment period. This dog is going to know, especially if you've got a Malinois or Dutch Shepherd or any of these working breeds, they are so much smarter than you. If they know that you are, gonna let them get away with everything and you're gonna be a giant pushover, that's not to say take a bat and beat the crap out of them and punish them into submission and make them know who's boss, but it's more so there is an adjustment period, and if you don't kind of nail it, you've got a dog that's going to walk all over you, and then you're going to go, well, this breeder sold me this dog who wasn't done and blah blah blah. Well, I mean, the titles
It's
prove it, right?
yeah.
So you know,
But it's almost it's an esoteric thing too, like that relationship and how to bond with the dog a lot of sometimes, but but as trainers we try to boil it down to timing and just that
100%.
repetition, Here
100%.
Sasha says working in animal genetics as my day job, and I'm with Brandon. Also missed out on a great seminar and a visit to Veronica because of COVID-19. Yeah,
Yeah. Sasha, I mean, that's
through this.
literally, it is her day job. She works in genetics. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, Sasha, since you're watching. I believe it's with turkeys or chickens or something.
Wild,
But
cool.
she's got two phenomenally trained uh, cattle dogs who I've had an absolute pleasure, being able to throw in a couple tips and tricks there. And Sasha and I have developed a really great relationship from there, which obviously stemmed from dog training and then talking genetics and talking about the fact that even, for example, and you would know, breeds like cattle dogs, those are working dogs. They may
Yep.
not be, like honestly, what's the joke, Sasha? Obviously, again, correct me if I'm wrong. It's uh, cattle dogs are the hick version of a Malinois.
The redneck Malinois.
And that is totally true. Like there are a lot of dogs. It's like border collies. Border collies, they need
There we
constant
go.
stimulation. There you go.
Yeah.
Look at her.
This way. Look at this. Sequoia.
Aww.
And she's just took a nap. So
she's like, "Hey, Dad."
So.
But no,
Yeah.
I mean, these dogs, there are very few dogs that were legitimately bred for nothing, like
companion dogs. Yeah.
But even your, golden retriever, your poodles, those were hunting dogs,
Dachshunds were badger dogs,
Yorkshire Terriers.
down.
We've got all of these dog breeds that people think aren't working dogs, or at least don't need a level of, mental, physical stim in their day to day to keep them satisfied, and enriched and all of this stuff, and keep them kind of out of, let's say, destruction, for example, or I should say even self-destruction in terms of chewing their paws, missing hair. Some of these dogs I see, it's like their entire paw pads are just chewed raw, because it's like, dude, you can't be creating a border collie for 10 hours of your day and then come home and be tired and not do anything with them, right? So
yeah, it's a disservice to that animal. I mean,
100%.
I think that it's, and that's what I see. That's what breaks my heart as a professional the most, is as somebody that's chosen to trade their life to be an advocate for these animals, to walk out of a situation where I know nothing's going to change and that dog's going to end up suffering their entire lives. And some people are like, it's not your path or whatever, but it's still, I can't help but have it affect me,
100%. 100%. I mean, I'm going to get comfy here. Sorry, guys.
Oh, do you think?
No, 100%. You're totally right. I mean, it's definitely sad to see. And I see a lot of working breeds and, owners who are dedicated. Sometimes that's, a big part of it, of course, is having a dedicated owner. But, if you don't have the time to commit to this, you can be as dedicated as you want, but unless you're going to quit your job, shit's not going to get better.
People don't realize the amount of time that it goes into this. They see the finished product, and you got to remember, it's just like when you see like the Seahawks play.
Yeah.
Even though they're not playing this year, but any sports team or professional athlete out on that field, you're seeing game day performance. Yeah. You're not seeing the hours and hours of dedicated practice and muscle memory and different exercises and coaches and that they've 100%. Gone through to get to that level. And so same thing when people see Veronica out there with her dogs or Ivan or whoever, they think that it's something that is just kind of overnight. And I think that these phones, these boxes that we have, these idiot boxes in our pockets, kind of lends itself to our influence that everything's kind of a push button, instant gratification. And with behavior, it's not that way.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I made... I can't remember if I actually ended up posting this on my story or not, but I don't want to say I'm new to social media because I'm not. I really protested having a social media page, like an Instagram page for the Working Canine, because at the end of the day, I'm busy training dogs. I do not have time to be syncing with Instagram algorithms. A lot of people, they're like, well, you've got this resume that's, all sparkly and shiny, but you only have like I don't know, a little under 1,500 followers on Instagram. And I'm like, I work 3 dogs daily.
Yeah.
I do not have time for this. Last year, I did over 60 flights. You know, I train and compete in 2 different countries. I don't have time to be posting on Instagram. You know, and so, yeah, I totally agree. You know, everything is at, you know, the touch of a button these days. And unfortunately, I do have to kind of jump on that bandwagon, and I've been trying to, you know, be a little bit more interactive on Instagram. And you know, obviously people appreciate that, but at the same time, even this new, you know, and I'm not trying to offend anyone who has started online training sessions, because we're about to do it, but I am very, very, very honest and upfront that an online training session is not going to be the same as an in-person training session. This is just the best that we can do with what's going on with COVID-19, of course. So, you know, again, everyone's used to having everything at the touch of a button. I mean, Amazon, I literally ordered cleaning supplies. I ordered a vacuum that's coming on Friday because my vacuum busted, and I'm not going out to, you know, God knows where and getting all germy and gross. You know, everything is available at the touch of a button. And unfortunately, dog training is not going to be one of those things that you're going to get overnight, like, you know, getting it at the touch of a button. Obviously, it is a great resource in the interim, you know, like everything is, but yeah, I mean, this social media thing is, I kind of went off topic there, but this social media thing kind of bugs me, because
Well, a lot of times it's fake too, man.
Oh,
And those dogs are going to tell.
Exactly.
Those dogs are going to tell you if you're fake or not. You know, if you when you get on the
100%.
field, if that shit works, the dog's going to let you know. Oh, by the way, what was the thing that I saw of Veronica when I met her in Florida? Her dog was wearing a collar. Their collar was, and I love the collar. And it said, what did it say, Veronica?
I got a collar custom made, and it had whites. It was a 2-inch thick collar, flat collar, and it said "fucking psycho" in bright white. I don't really know how bright white can get, but it was white spray painted letters on a, you know, jet black collar. And I mean, I think everyone noticed that collar, and so it did the job while we were obviously, you know, drinking at the beach bar with her. I think it was her, Pat Stewart, you know, a couple others there,
Glenn Close, and we all went out for lunch.
I still got that picture of Lishka holding a cup of, I don't know if it's full or not, but she's holding a cup in her mouth from the beach bar, and her and Pat Stewart are on those bar stools there, and that's where she's wearing the black collar that says "fucking psycho" on it.
Oh, nice, she's wearing it. Barb says, I have 2 Malinois. I've been sick for a couple months, still drag my butt out to play, work, and interact with my dogs. I mean, if you don't, they're going to freaking pull a mutiny on you.
Exactly. They are going to make it very known. You know, not to say it was just for, obviously, you know, this.
She always feels better mentally and physically too.
Yeah, of course. I mean, 100%, right? You're fulfilling the dog's needs, both mental and physical. It's really important. You know, just before this, I had Lishka, for those of you who were on my Instagram just shortly before this, you know, I had her on the treadmill for about 45 minutes, and she's currently sleeping at my feet right now, hanging out with us here, being very good and quiet and perfect.
Yeah.
But, you know, it 100%, you know, there are very few sick days that you get with owning a Malinois or a working dog or a sport dog or anything like that. I mean, you need to be making sure that you're on top of things, because, you know, then you're gonna email me going, my dog's chewing the couch and she was fine up until she was a year and a half old and blah blah blah, and, you know, all of a sudden all these magical things happen, and I'm like, well, you know, what changed in your life? Well, I'm 9 months pregnant. And I'm like, how much time have you had for, you know, the dog? So, not to say it can't be done, you know, but
yeah, you can almost see, based on what their needs are, how long that dog has been without interaction or enrichment, you know?
Oh, 100%. And, you know, it's funny, you know, I know, you know, earlier we talked about the fact that things can't happen overnight, but I wouldn't say I'd contradict myself there, but at the same time.
Anthony says, well, Veronica probably did it overnight.
Anthony, you're only trying to pump my tires because you're part of the working canine
pump
team.
My
he's
tires.
He's one of my handlers.
Pump my tires.
You're just trying to pump my tires. You're not getting a raise.
Pump my tires. That's hilarious. I gotta keep that one. Pump my
All jokes
tires.
aside, Anthony's phenomenal.
Brandon says there can be no excuses to not training, no matter how busy you are. I'm in training now after a long day to make sure when I hit the trial field, we have prepared. Absolutely.
100%. 100%.
Repetition, is the mother of learning. Train 1 billion hours for a 20 million test.
At 20,
No sick days
exactly.
allowed.
Exactly. I mean, Steph, she busts her balls with, she's got a bird dog, and I mean, she's training 24/7, and she's totally right. I mean, even 20-minute tests. I mean, imagine, I know that she's been in the rally and competitive obedience rings and stuff. I mean, that's a 2-3 minute test.
Yep.
You bust your
Or agility,
chops,
yeah.
for hours and hours and days and years and years. And for what, 30 seconds in the ring?
Well, you bust your chops for what the majority of the world has no clue what you're doing.
100%.
And even people with that same breed, like you said, I think the role of the dog has changed dramatically in the last 150 years, dramatically.
Oh, 100%. Dogs are
You know,
not what they used to be. You know.
well, I mean, they are in a way,
Yes,
yeah, but their role has changed
a
too.
hundred
Like
percent.
it's now I think people they look at these dogs and I call them looking at dogs because that's all they're looking at them and that's it. They're like, ooh, that one, and
Yeah,
because they're cute or I like the way it looks or I like how chubby it is, or it's
a
big
hundred
brown
percent.
eyebrows, and I'm like, that's a Rottweiler, and the Rottweiler is
You know what? I've had Sela, who's our 11, 12 week old Doberman puppy. I've had her for maybe, I think we're going on 2 weeks now. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me, let's say I've had her in my arms, or I'm just kind of snuggling her or whatever outside, out and about, or she's just walking on leash,
out and about.
out and about.
Sorry,
Canadians.
I know I have to make fun of a Canadian anytime I can.
um, so many people come up to me and they're like, "So, what is that miniature pincher?" I'm like, "No, she's a 12-week-old Doberman. She's gonna be like 70 pounds. Like,
Yeah, look at her paws.
where are you getting this from? I mean, this is like." You really can't mistake a Doberman. It's, you could definitely mistake a Portuguese water dog and a Doodle, for example, if you really don't know your breeds. If
Yeah,
you're the average, Joe Blow down the road. But this is a Doberman. This is as close to breed standard as you can get. I mean, the dog was purchased as a conformation dog, so I hope to God that she's as close to breed standards as you're gonna get.
all I heard was Doberman puppy. She just came out.
Yes, 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 yes.
Do
All the
you
Doberman
think do you
pictures.
think that a fear aggressive dog could be trained to be more neutral on people through virtual training?
That's a tough one to answer. I mean, everyone's what your definition of fear aggressive dog could be totally different. What I could see is just an insecure dog, for example.
Yeah, fear aggressive
Obviously,
dog is very wobbly,
that's a
very
very,
wobbly.
even the term aggression, right?
Yeah, or
Um,
positive, or
yeah.
there's
Do I
lots of
think,
things.
yeah, I mean, do I think a dog can be, I don't even know if I want to answer the fact that can a dog just in general be trained from a very negative, and from the sounds of it, we're dealing with a very negative, maybe even, what, I can't even say, because again, who knows what Joe's experience level is, or Joe's definition of a fear aggressive dog is, because like I said, I mean, I might be dealing with just a dog that hasn't been trained, period, and is taking advantage of your handling skills that may or may not be advanced. I don't really know how to kind of
Right.
fluffily say it, but
It
I
might
don't even
be
know if I
some
can.
sort of miscommunication based on poor timing,
Yeah, I mean,
or not addressing behavior or something.
do I think in general a dog can be trained online? Nope. Again, like, I want to, and this is staying very general, because I think that, again, there's so many different kind of things that come into play here. Is it actually a fear aggressive dog? Is it actually an aggressive dog? Is it actually your handling? Is it the dog? Is it X, Y, and Z? I might be able to take the dog, and in 5 minutes I've got the dog perfectly healing past other dogs, no problem. I'd have to see the dog in person, I think, or at least some videos of the dog. but I
Well, and
really,
meet the handler too. Who's this dog predominantly with,
exactly, what's
and
the
how long
environment?
have you had it? Where did this dog come from before? For There's a lot of factors that go into this, that kind of give you, and as a dog professional, we're looking for patterns
A hundred
and
percent, a hundred
looking
percent
for, and that's why we're
consistency.
asking, yeah, more and
Yeah,
more questions to give us more and more data so we can find the pattern that has led to what we see in front of us.
yeah. And again, like I said, I mean, you may be thinking it's a fear aggressive dog when I'm going, oh, I mean, give him for me, give him to me for a weekend and we're good.
This is true.
I don't know if I can explain it. I think I do have poor handling skills, but his aggression is genetic. His mother had it. I've mainly been training him
What
to,
kind of dog is it? What kind
what
of dog? Yeah.
exactly, what kind of dog is it? How much
How
experience?
old is the dog and what's going on? Is it, I mean, it's a
I'd
fear
encourage
aggressive
you,
dog.
I'd
Does it
100%
just
just,
get snappy? Does it they get overwhelmed
yeah,
and just a snap, 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 snap? Or
yeah.
is it like stalking? Is it
There's so many
uh
different things that come into that. Again, I think that all I would say is I'd encourage you to send a video of whatever issues you're having to your trainer or your local trainer or Bill or me or anyone,
yeah,
just so that we can chat a little bit more in depth, or you can chat a little bit more in depth with that trainer. It's a
is
Doberman
a
Bull.
year old. So game breed with Adobe. Yep.
But even, you know what? I'm going to challenge. I'm not challenging you, Joe, directly. I'm just going to challenge in general that statement
The Pipple.
is it a Doberman? Is it a pit bull? Like
Yeah.
where, like so many times I'm going to get to someone's house and they're like, oh, it's a Doberman. And I'm like, that's a black lab.
Yeah.
Like again,
That's got something else in it.
yeah,
There's something else going on here with this dog's
totally,
makeup, genetic makeup that's might
totally.
be influencing, the demeanor, but
Yeah, yeah.
um,
No,
yeah.
I would just say, without dragging this on a little bit more, I would just say, take a video of it and send it to your local trainer or send it to one of us or, so that we can just chat a little bit more one on one with you and get a little bit better of an idea of what's going on. But to generalize, can a dog be trained from, let's just hypothetically say, a quote, fear aggressive dog to, being able to pass by other dogs in peace without, any sort of blurted explosion reaction virtually? No, I don't think so at all. But again, to each their own. This is an unregulated industry. Maybe someone out there has the power to do it online, go for it. Personally, for me, I would not be comfortable let's say telling you that I can fix your dog, from being a quote fear aggressive dog to being perfectly fine, walking by other dogs or people, or at least being very manageable without some explosive reactions. 100%, virtually or online or however, Zoom, Skype, Facebook chat, whatever it is. I don't think that I would be confident in telling you that I can fix that because, again, because I need to be in person with these handlers. I want to see their handling. I want to see the dog. I want to see the environment. I
I
want to
like looping your leash around your wrist, and I like rocking people like they're the dog, so I can show
100%.
them.
hundred
You
percent.
can't
It's
really do that
all,
online.
and that goes back to obviously, yeah, we're gonna be we're offering the 30 and 60-minute options for online training and whatnot. But again, I'm very open and honest with saying this is an in the interim how I can help you while we're dealing with this COVID-19. This is not what I would
And
recommend.
all be all,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. This is not the end all be all. This is as best as I can do without having to actually deal with you and interact with you just because of what's going on in the world right now.
Don't get your cooties.
Yeah, yes. I don't want your cooties.
Don't want your COVID cooties, man.
Exactly, the COVID
Definitely
cooties.
thinks. We've already
That should
sent a
be a new
video
thing.
to a current trainer and then paid for board and train, but he's still the same way. Oh, they've already paid for board and
Ooh.
train.
So that
In
goes
fact,
back, I
worse
would say that goes back to our earlier conversation, Bill,
about the
where we were
trainer.
saying this is an unregulated industry. What
Yeah,
makes a
man.
person a trainer? For me personally, get out there, train your own dogs, make sure that that trainer has well behaved dogs themselves. Furthermore, I'm a big I'm a big fan of titles. You know, all of my dogs have a plethora of titles in, I mean, even 2 different countries, under several different kennel clubs, you know, under several different conditions and whatnot, in a variety of dog sports. I mean, I want to make sure that the stuff that I'm teaching my students is something that I really, really know X, Y, and Z about. And so I think that, you know what, for you, Joe, this just goes down to, I think this is a trainer issue, go back and see who is this trainer and what makes he or she a trainer, or was it just someone you found on Google?
Yeah. Hey, do you have a book, Veronica, or anything you can put your computer on?
Oh, is it sliding? Here.
Well,
Okay.
I hear like a weird, I think it's just rubbing on the.
Wow, is it not?
Yeah, I think, no, it's on your end. See, it's gone.
Oh, it's
Oh, wait,
going.
it's still there. It's still there. Weird.
I feel like
Okay.
it's every time you talk or every time I talk. Now I don't hear it.
You don't? Okay. Sorry.
Oh, now I hear it.
Check. 1, 2, whatever.
Does everyone hear us? Is anyone annoyed?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll wait till people get too annoyed. I think that titling and the standards are there for a reason, man. They're like checkpoints in your relationship with your dog, and to see where you're at and where you're headed to. And it perplexes me the heck. Oh, Duke's Dog Training Genesis. So
that's a different person, though. I don't know who that is. That's
no, that's Duke Ferguson. But he has his. Like, but that's the virtual. That's the virtual. Oh, that's Paul Redford. Oh, that's a different guy. Duke's Dog Training Genesis. Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's why I don't know.
Yeah, never mind. Hey, Paul, how you doing,
Duke's
buddy?
Dog Training Genesis.
South Florida. She's in South Florida, or she's not in South Florida, but.
I'm South. I'm kind of South Florida.
She's in Tampa, so get a hold of her. And she's in Florida when she's not up north in the Great White North.
I'm in both Tampa, Florida, and Ottawa, Ontario.
Yeah,
total
and
opposites.
So, yep. What were you mentioning? Duke's Training Genesis for Paul. Okay, Linda. This industry is the lowest barrier of entry of all trades. Any mouth breather with a pulse can call themselves a dog trainer.
Linda, I love your verbiage.
Linda's the shit. Linda's
my girl.
She's been in the industry for as long as I've been alive. So she's been training dogs for
100%.
as long as I've been alive. So.
No, I mean, you are 100% right. This is, again, it goes back to me. Again, this is my personal belief. I have lots of friends who don't title their dogs that are still phenomenal dog trainers and that I would still really recommend. But me personally, the reason why I believe in titling my dogs so much, and that I'm quasi addicted to it myself, is that not only is it fun, it's challenging for me as well. And it also proves my training. I mean, it's like breed standard. What are you just, breeding?
It's the proof.
Exactly. The proof is in the titles for me personally. It's just like breeding to breed standard. If you're going to just take a dog based on its look and go, oh, he looks pretty and I, want one of his dogs. It's like, okay, but is he even within breed standard? Like, where are you getting this from aside from the fact that, Bobby the badger looks so cute with his, little black mask or whatever, like, I want to breed him. Okay, well, who are you to say that? There's a reason breed standard exists, and there's 2 kennel clubs for you to choose from to pick breed standard. For me, in my opinion, it's American Kennel Club and the Canadian Kennel Club. There's a few breeds in there that aren't in both kennel clubs, but again, breed standard exists for the same reason I believe that titling your dogs exists, and I 100% am huge on titling dogs, and I'm huge on picking a trainer who has proved themselves and go, and has the ability to go, hey, I'm a good dog trainer, and this is why you should pick me, based on this.
Or your dog too. Like I just tell 100%. People, even if they don't want to obedience title their dog or get anything to watch, because my little mini cattle dogs aren't even recognized by them, but I still hold them to the same standards. And
100%.
I mean, you should see these people. The comments that people give me about my dog, they're like, "Oh my God, is that a service dog?" And I'm like, "No." What's he going to help me with? I don't, is he going to go? I don't know. No, he's not a service
sure
dog.
what his role is, but it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. But they're just so
coming.
well trained, and that's just how it is, and that's how, like, I'm in this room with 6 dogs right now.
Yeah.
And I can make them lose their shit in a second if I wanted to, but I also need them to be calm. And that's the other aspect of this, is that people don't realize all the time that it takes into calming down and to getting the dogs to recognize that there is a routine. Here's Linda's got another comment here.
That's a good comment.
The importance of structure and routine is what I wanted to say to finish my point there. But that's the issue. Nobody thinks they need to prove anything, right? And they do, really, because what we do reflects on everyone else. And not only that, but I can see a dog healing. I could tell a dog, how long does it take you to tell if a dog's been worked with or not?
2 seconds. And I mean, it's not even, and I'm not even trying to say I'm some, wonderful, great, phenomenal dog trainer. I mean, if you know dog training.
But I've met your dogs, man. I've met your dogs. I've been to your house in Florida, and we walked to the hotel, with your dog, no leash, no nothing, very busy area.
They're very, I actually just posted a video of my dogs, one of my dogs off leash healing, maybe 2.5 hours ago. And, I hold my dogs to a very, very high standard, because if I'm an example, if I'm going to expect 110%, for example, at least I'm going to get, 90% probably from my clients, and that's already going to be a total light year away from what the average person is used to seeing a dog behave like, right? I mean, for me, I was just talking about this with a friend of mine, actually. Chris and I were talking about the fact that in this day and age, even loose leash walking isn't possible for people. How do you not even have your dog loose leash walking? How are you not even able to pass another person or dog without your dog losing its shit? I mean, sorry for my language, but
we just said fucking psycho. I don't care. You can
true. Actually, that's true. How much worse does it get? It's 100%.
People have lost their mind, man. I don't know.
Totally.
It's not that hard, man. I'll get a dog to stop pulling on a leash in less than 20 minutes, man.
100%. I was just about to say,
they'll never pull on with me again.
In one session, I've got this dog healing on leash with a couple changes in direction, and actually training the dog how to get into heel position and understand. A lot of the time I'm like, so have you taught your dog heel? And they're like, what? And so we created a
first thing I teach them, folks.
Exactly. We created a little YouTube video. We've got a video up on YouTube on how to teach your dog how to heel. I mean, it is so simple. The name of the game is consistency, repetition. And I mean, literally, I'm just going to end it there. It drives me nuts.
Consistency and repetition. I tell people repetition is the mother of learning.
100%. I mean,
even
if you think you're going to get this overnight, you are so wrong.
She says, Joe says as his mistake is my trainer had cool pictures on Instagram and 10 plus good reviews on Facebook. I'll definitely do my research before getting another dog trainer.
And this goes back to what we spoke about earlier, Bill, where it was like, I was definitely delayed. There are a lot of people who have tens and thousands of, more followers than I do, who I know personally.
You can buy followers, folks.
Exactly.
Dude, that's what gets me, man. Like, you can buy followers, and that's 100%. Fake. And people have lost, like, advertising companies. So there's this influencer market, and they don't do their homework, and they spend all this money to get their product in front of an influencer. But this influencer is a liar. 100%. And they've just thrown all their money away, and it's zero integrity, and I can't 100%. Fucking stand it.
I mean, our sponsorships are 100% legitimate. They are 100% products that we have used. If not, we have been clients before we got our sponsorships. In fact, I would say 90% of our sponsorships have been because we have been loyal clients, customers, referred them out, and
Let's
then
name your sponsors real quick. So we have Gunner Kennels.
so we've got Gunner Kennels, who are absolutely phenomenal. They are a true representation of how someone would want a sponsorship relationship to look like. We've got From, so From Kibble, and
Hold
again,
on. You're getting a
we've
link for
been
Gunner
feeding.
first.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Gunner.com.
Gunner
So Gunner.
Kennels, for example, to quickly chat about them, they are the only 5-star crash tested kennel on the market. They are shotgun proof. Not that anyone should be shooting shotguns at your kennel, but you can see a ton of their videos and stories of people who have gotten into rollovers and some serious car accidents and whatnot. So Gunner Kennels, they're phenomenal. They just the whole story behind it is great. And again, I was a client of theirs, a customer of theirs, and I was representing their brand before I had any sort of affiliation with them. And then it was later on that they reached out to me based on just a couple of posts that I made, with genuine reviews. And we had a little conversation, which led to a phone conversation, which then led, further and further to a sponsorship. And I've been with them for about a year now, or over a year now. So they are a kibble brand. They are a
From
very
Family
high.
Pet Food.
Exactly. From is just a great quality of kibble. Again, I'm not here to argue what's better, kibble or raw. I respect both. I've fed both. Feeding 3 large breed working dogs, I will be more than happy to be working with such a great quality of food, or such a great brand, I should say, that makes a really great quality of food. And so I've been feeding From for about 7 years to all of my dogs, and this has been not just, obviously my dogs are not 7 years old, but dogs before I've had my current pack right now.
It looks great.
Totally. And they're in great shape. With the amount of travel, like I said earlier, I mean, last year alone, I did over 60 flights with one of my dogs, and
Where are you at now? Are you at home?
yeah, I'm in my bed.
Oh, okay. I
I'm
don't know
at
if
home.
you're in a
I'm in
hotel.
Tampa. I'm in Tampa, Florida, and so yeah, traveling so much raw just wasn't really an option for us. But I am absolutely not against raw. Whatever works for you and your dogs, absolutely go for it. All I care about is that you're feeding a very high quality food to your dogs, whether that's kibble or raw. Again, that's not what I'm here to argue. But what we feed is From, and so that's one of our sponsors. And then we
From
also have,
family.com.
yeah, and then we've got Naturals, which is a Canadian-based raw food company. Actually, we just choose to feed their raw as just kind of something for fun. We fill beef tracheas with them. We fill, or I should say, any tracheas. Really, I had a lamb trachea last time. But they have a huge selection of dehydrated and raw options, and they've got a ton of chicken feet, ears, beef nose, like cow noses, and pig's tails, and all these kind of interesting products that they have. But their primary line is raw food, and
Oh my goodness.
they are based
Um,
in Canada.
Here we got a couple comments from Linda. Linda's simple for practitioners, not so simpler for new handlers. I tell people it's like learning a new dance. You're
Totally.
going to get frustrated with this. You're going to make
Totally.
some wrong steps. Don't beat yourself up.
100%.
Videotape what you do.
Yeah.
Videotape so you go back and look, and so you could also send to your trainer in case
100%.
you run into
And
a
it actually
problem.
ties into what Linda's saying. The next comment after that is social media has ruined dog training, which I totally believe. I 100% believe that. And this kind of ties
I
into
agree.
what you just mentioned, Bill, where, those of you who have worked with me know how active I am on the direct message side of Instagram. Almost all of my clients send me videos of their updates. I actually, just before I jumped on here, I sent a video to one of my clients back in Ottawa of just loose leash walking on a chain collar, and so we do this kind of back and forth. And I always joke around. No offense to the lawyers out there, I'm not a lawyer. I don't charge by the minute. You know what I mean?
I do the same.
Send me your videos, send me your updates, talk to me, FaceTime me, text me. I don't care what it is. It may take me a hot minute to get back to you, but I 100% encourage people to be, keeping me in the loop. And this is a work in progress. I mean, I had a board and train back in October who absolutely phenomenal kind of outcome. This dog had bit several people, came to stay with me for 5 weeks, came to me actually. We spent our 5 weeks in 3 different cities together. He was on set of a photo shoot in Montreal that we did. Just a really, really great outcome. Owners were super happy. And I hadn't, time slips away. My job, unfortunately, as much as I would love to be catching up with people and touching base with everyone, I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients that I couldn't possibly be on top of all the time. So I'm very open with the fact that when I'm usually done my sessions, I always tell people, hey, reach out to me. I would love to talk to you. I may go weeks or months without reaching out myself, but please don't take that as, me kind of like forgetting about you or not wanting to talk to you. And she actually sent me, it's been, maybe a couple months since we last talked. And she sent me a video of her daughter walking the dog on a very extended loose leash. So she was basically just holding the leash handle just to show me, the fact that the dog really doesn't even need a leash. And so
it's decoration, I tell people.
I really couldn't be more proud of them. And so I definitely encourage people to talk to me. And the only kind of, I guess, benefit in regards to Linda's comment, to me, the only benefit out of social media that has come was the fact that I can message my clients a little bit more directly.
Well, we can do these live streams.
Exactly.
We can do, there's certain things that we can do that is on the communication level, but it also, I mean, there's a lot of misinterpretation and a lot of grandeur and a lot of, I don't even know, just painting a picture of desire instead of what the truth is. And as people that get paid to bring people, the truth is paramount. The truth and trust are the 2 paramount things that go with our what we do. Michelle says you're the best, Veronica. I agree, 100%.
Thanks, Michelle.
And then Veronica Joe asked, do you make your dogs work for food?
That's a really great question. I use food in very little of my training. I'm not against it whatsoever. Again, there's several ways to train a dog. I do use food in my training, but I wouldn't say that I am food training. I'm not a positive reinforcement trainer in the sense that I'm going to be loading dogs up with food and making them work for food 24/7. For me personally, and again, to each their own, this is a very big industry. I use food generally when the kind of rule of thumb is that I use food indoors, not outdoors. So indoors, I'm going to use food to bait shape lure. I'm going to use food to create new positions. So position work is something that I do a lot of food work with. Puppies love food, if not tug and toy and play. But I would say, outside, it's more relationship based in terms of I stick to kind of, hey, good, bad, no, very black. And I'm not going to be carrying a bag of food with me everywhere I go. I don't want my dogs learning to be doing these behaviors just because I've got, a piece of bacon in front of them. However, again, that's not to say that I don't use food indoors for mainly position work. But I would say if I was to pick one, I train my dogs with play. So lots of tug, lots of fetch, lots of playing with toys in general, rewarding with a game of fetch. I have a video on my Instagram, for example, that, I think it's called You're Not So Average Game of Fetch, where you'll see me working the dogs very, very, very loosely, just asking for down, sit, stand, heel. And their reward is the fetch, it is go get the ball. And so I think that for me personally, for me and my training, for me and my dogs, play works a lot better. And for those of you who obviously follow Ivan, he just released a bunch of play newsletters and videos and stuff. And that's kind of obviously, again, earlier on, I mentioned I owe a lot of my success to Ivan and all of his mentorship and stuff. But, I wouldn't say that I train dogs on food or I make my dogs work for food if that had to be like my primary position. I use food in my training. Of course, But I would say I'm play and
But you're
relationship.
not reliant on it.
No, I'm not. I really am not, because at the end of the day, I need my dogs to come back when they're called because I called them, not because I am waving a bunch of food in their face.
Yeah, you need a relationship based on rapport and
100%.
respect, not on bribery
I
and
mean, my dogs, when they, Leishka and I just got our BH in February, for example. And one of the first things that I wouldn't say my judge, but the judge,
keep
one of the
going.
first things that the judge said was, I can tell that you guys have a phenomenal relationship. I mean, her tail was wagging the entire time. She was super happy to be out there, and I had nothing. It was just me and her, and it was just 100%. Hey, let's go do this. Let's go kick ass. Let's go show them, how
It's a
hard we've been
solid
working
relationship.
towards this. And that, for me personally, again, that comes from play. 100%. Well, I wouldn't say 100%. Majority of my training comes from play, if not all of it.
Demi says, I regularly flood Veronica's inbox. Sorry, not
I love it.
sorry.
You know what, though? She has come such a long way. I will take your messages every single day for all I care. If this is, the in the year that we've worked together, I mean, you've done awesome, and I will
Good
100%
job, Demi.
gladly have your messages in my inbox. Going
So,
back, I just want to quickly touch base on some. If you want to, so the link that you put to Naturals is, I think, the wrong one.
oh,
It's
what?
spelled natural, RAW, like raw food. So
Okay.
naturals. I don't know the website off the top of my head, but you guys can go on my
I'll post
Instagram
it
and
on there.
social.
I'll post it
Oh,
on
okay,
later.
perfect, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on our Instagram and social media and stuff. And then the other sponsors that we have are Vessi
It's a shoe
Footwear.
company.
Yeah, we just got on a sponsorship with them. They're awesome. They make a really cool shoe. It's 100% waterproof and made in Canada. Long story short, that's what it is. Vessi Footwear, made in Canada. And I
Go
think,
ahead, splash away.
yeah,
What they say.
exactly.
BessieFootwear.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going back to, I think you mentioned you want, or I think you briefly posted Linda's comment before I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. See, hold
On
on. I'm gonna do this Bessie Footwear link there. I have a
totally.
pretty thriving distance learning community, but the caveat is they need to supply me with video updates in order to monitor their progress. If they don't supply me
Totally.
with updates, I cannot possibly know how well they are progressing. And she just
100%.
left. I just had a message down here that she's dipping out. And if you're still on,
Oh,
Linda, I want to know if she meets the dogs first, because that's the only time that I do an online or continued learning. Is if I've worked in the dog with the dog in person and work with that, then I can do Skype appointments. I can check in with you. I can
totally.
see,
Totally.
and then I can be like, show me what's going on,
Well,
and
you've
I'm like,
seen like their house and their,
yeah,
or
and
their
I've met the
relationship
dog,
or
met the them,
whatever.
and
There's
so once I meet in
easy rec.
person, so that might be a caveat too, is like, look, as long as I know this dog and I've put my hands on this dog and I know the person and we're working through something, then we might be able to work through the next couple steps online and then be able to pick up in person.
Totally.
And so I'm wondering if Linda, if she's still here, do you meet the people first? Kosh says, I have a 1-year-old rescue, Doberman, zero training or socialization outside of breeder's compound till uplift at 10 months old. She is great. She is great in a lot of areas now, apart from so much forward drive in the healing. Do I just slow the heal process right down?
So,
Do you know Tosh?
Bill, is that,
She's amazing.
I don't actually, unfortunately, I don't know
She's
her.
down in New Zealand. She owns a facility down there. I've done a live
Oh,
stream with her and
cool.
her boyfriend as well.
Oh, awesome.
Great people.
That's
But she
awesome.
just adopted this Dobie. She's great in a lot of areas now, apart so forward drive in the healing, apart from so much forward drive in the healing. I mean,
So for me,
corrective turns, man. That's what I'm thinking is, foraging on that line might take a right turn or something like that. I don't,
yeah, I mean, for me, again, if you want to check out our how to teach a dog how to heal video, it's on our YouTube page. But for me, I wouldn't. I mean, if I can go into a session and teach a dog how to heal, in a let's say a session, for example, I'm going to get right to it. Even if I have this kind of, I'm not, again, I'm not trying to offend you in any way, but if I've got kind of a quote sob story behind the dog, I don't care. I'm still going to go
I
ahead
don't
and teach the
either.
dog how to
I tell
heel.
people, forget
Uh,
about it.
yeah,
The dog is
exactly.
going to after we're done. You
Exactly.
know.
So for me personally, I wouldn't be slowing the heel process down, because what that's going to teach the dog, in my opinion, again, is, oh, I guess you don't care about it. Right? I
Mm.
mean, the dog's just going to learn that this is okay, this is okay, this is okay. What I would do is, hey, I've got this dog. This is the time, now that he's a quote new dog, this is the time to get down to showing expectations and teaching and all of this stuff, rather than letting him get comfortable with no rules. Right? So rather than letting him drag you around, let's say, or forge your crowd, or whatever we want to call it, just get straight to it. Totally, go teach them how to heel. And for me personally, healing starts indoors. I want to teach the dog how to heel, or how to do anything with no distractions, which again, controlled environment indoors. And then I want to work with adding distractions in there. So maybe I'll go outdoors, but maybe not, downtown New Zealand or wherever. I don't know what
Right.
city you live in within, but I'm not going to go downtown. But maybe I'll go in a backyard, or maybe I'll go down the road, or maybe I'll go down a quiet street before I go to something a little bit, busier and crazier,
Right.
and slowly work from there, because the dog will show you. The dog's going to tell you where he's at. And again, if you have a good trainer to kind of send some videos to, and develop this relationship with, you can send them a video and they'll be able to tell you, okay, that dog's just taking totally taking advantage of you, or the dog truly does not know what you're asking of it. So you need to take a step
Or the
back. Or it's
dog's in overwhelm in an environment they
exactly,
shouldn't be. You're moving too
exactly.
fast.
So you
Like
need to
get
take
the
a step back.
aquarium. Yeah, get
Yeah,
into an aquarium with less distractions, and we call it
totally,
aquarium, like training
totally,
dolphins or whatever.
100%,
Um,
100%.
and then what was I just saying? I cannot wait to learn from Ivan. Just so you know, he's on my list, and I cannot. He's like, I
He's
think he's going to
phenomenal.
be my next once I go through Napopo and get this gold and all
Oh
everything.
yeah,
I'm gonna
we've
I'm gonna
got,
go and do a bunch of stuff with whatever he's got. I'm gonna do and just kind
oh,
of
a
immerse
hundred
myself
percent.
in his world. And that's
No,
what I like to do is
we're.
just kind of get focused, immerse myself in whatever my teacher is, from Keeler to Napopo to.
Oh, hey,
Uh,
Larry. Sorry,
was Larry on here?
Larry's on here.
Oh yay, Larry! He said that I was ugly on the
Carry on,
last
carry on.
stream. He said I was ugly. That Coach Jason and I were ugly. You're uglier, Larry. So there you go. No, just kidding.
Hey,
You're not. You're a
if
good-looking
he's
dude. I
gonna be
like him.
calling you ugly, I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna remind him. Wasn't he talking about these awful farts he had, or something, or some food he's been eating?
Dude,
He's
and
been on some food
next to
posts.
Veronica, I'm sure I'm like chopped liver too, man. Jiminy Christmas.
Oh
All
man.
right.
Oh man. No, Ivan's phenomenal. I mean, Brandon and I've got a combined of, I think, almost 20 years of training experience with him. And
Awesome.
he, again, like I said, I can't
I've
repeat
tried to get
enough.
him on here, so if you talk to him, tell him that I'm stalking him, man. I've
He's
sent
a
him
tough
many.
man to get a hold of,
I know,
for
Mr.
sure. You need to be
Impossible.
on his in his inside circle.
Yeah.
But
Well,
no,
that's
we're 100% super grateful that that has been our source of learning over a decade. And like I said, we've got a combined over 15 years probably now, between Brandon and I. And
wow.
I cannot recommend him enough to people. And furthermore, we're so blessed to have him only 30 minutes away from us. And I mean, I honestly would say I owe so much of my success to him, if not all of it.
Well, this might be a silly question, but Paul wants to know, would Ivan's new video be good for working with a 1-year-old black lab?
So where here we go. Sorry, you just posted. I was trying to look through
Sorry, you just did another Canadian thing.
About house. Sorry. All of these things people always catch me on.
Joe says, I'm sure you should email about it, but I'm sure it would. You're talking about Chase and Fetch 2.0, right?
So Chase and Fetch 100%. It's Chase and Catch, which is
Chase and Catch.
It's Chase and Catch, and it's for what people would.
I can't wait, dude. I just think about playing with my dog and.
Totally. No, people know the word fetch obviously a little bit more than they would know chase and catch.
Okay.
But I would 100%. I mean, a lot of people think that Ivan's videos are just for sport and working dog people. Whereas, I mean, I can tell you 100%, I've implemented so much of what I've learned from him to the pet world. 100 times over, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say any of the videos, you know, if you want to start working on, you know, fetch with your dog, chase and catch for sure. I mean, there's
I'm getting
possession
fat.
games. There's, you know, there's even like luring videos and stuff like that for those of you who want to use food. You know, Ivan does not use food. He's 100%, you know, again, like me, or I should say I'm like him, relationship and play based, you know, tug and giving those bites as rewards and throwing that ball as a reward. So 100% I would say any of those videos, if you think that just by the title they would apply to you, they will apply to you. So I 100% encourage you guys
You
to
are
go and
right.
check those out because you can apply what he has to say on any dog. I mean, let's remember. I mean, I know that he, you know, there's everyone. Not everyone in the world is going to agree with you with what you say, which is why a lot of the times with what I've been saying this live, that I've said, you know, not trying to offend anyone, you know, this is what I do in my, you know, in my house, you know, my opinion. But he had, you know, some people go after him because, you know, they were like, oh, you can only train working dogs. Let's not remember where Ivan came from. You know, yeah,
Ivan's
sure,
got the. I
he's been
remember
with
when
the
Sean O'Shea did
SCCA.
that thing, that post on him, and he and Ivan came back and
That's what I'm
like
talking about.
tore him a new asshole, man. And it's
He
like,
tore
and then
him.
he's like,
Oh
dude,
my
you
God.
obviously have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Here is
He had no
why,
idea who Ivan was,
you know.
period. I
Right,
mean,
exactly. And that's it, man. It's just, you know, we have so many dogs here in this industry to help that it doesn't really, you know, matter, or it doesn't really help to fling mud on each other, and especially if
100%.
you're going to fling mud on one of the luminaries of the industry. Larry down here, he says
Yeah.
Bart and Ivan are dog training, or he says dig training.
Yeah, I think
He says dig training, but I'm going to say
they are the
dog
definition
training
of dog
because,
training. I mean,
right,
hey, Larry, don't discredit yourself either. I mean, you are a
right on, yeah, dude, yeah, don't.
phenomenal dog
You
trainer.
are, and the way you explain stuff, man, and just
100%.
the person that you are, dude, and just who, you know, not just on the screen here, but I've met him in person
Yeah,
and can confirm that he is a very, very nice guy, and
100%. I would totally,
he says,
I
and
could
I'm
only
getting
imagine.
fat, and yes, I can confirm that he's getting fat too, dude. You know what he says? He's like, I look down at my little man, you know, and if my belly goes over my penis, that's
Oh
what he
my
was saying. And then
gosh.
it's time to go on the diet. So,
Oh,
uh,
100%. Oh my
you know,
gosh, you're too
best
funny.
in the world, Brandon says. Yep. And
Oh,
my wife says, you are definitely not ugly, my handsome man. Thank
aw,
you,
of
boo.
course.
I'll
Oh,
give
that's
you
so
your money a little bit later on tonight for that. My beautiful lady, I got to take her out for that one. My wallet is going to be crying after buying more of Ivan's
it's
videos.
true.
You know what? Let it cry. Let it
Let
cry. Just put
let
it
it
over in the
cry.
corner and let it cry it out. Okay? Just
Totally.
don't reinforce the wallet.
A
Don't
hundred
look at it.
percent.
Just let it cry.
100%.
Let
No, I
it
mean, you know,
calm
going
itself
back
down.
to what you were saying in regards to, you know, the fact that I watch all your videos. Veronica has actually recommended one to me. No, for
Who,
sure. I mean,
Larry? Is it Larry? I
um,
think, or
I actually don't know who this person is. There's no like
you're the
picture,
man, Larry. Love you, buddy.
but yeah. um, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, you
Artist
mentioned
sensei.
that Bart Sensei of Sensei. Um, you know, you mentioned briefly just not too long ago how there's enough dogs in the world for everyone, and you know, obviously making sure that everyone is defined by legitimate dog trainers, right? And that goes even farther back to what we were talking about earlier, where it is such an unregulated industry that
Well,
you
it is
just
such an emotional industry too, dude. That the YouTube dog train. Do you see the list?
oh, it's
And
everyone's a
it's
dog
like
trainer.
it's so
My mom at
silly
this
to
point's a
me. The
dog
number
trainer
one
because she
dog
deals with my
trainer.
dogs.
Well,
I
the number
mean,
one dog trainer that they voted on this list is nonsense. And like all these people, they're just it's an appeal to emotion.
oh, 100%, 100%. You
You,
post something someone's gonna like, and boom, you're a dog trainer, make money out of it, you know.
yeah, I
And
don't
it's
know,
really
man.
sad because I mean, I dropped out of third year university when I was, back in school time. I dropped out of third year university. I grew up going to a private school. Knock on wood, I was blessed with a very lovely life that I was like, I'm going to be a veterinarian. I'm going to get this, degree, and I'm going to go and get my doctorate and this and that. I dropped out and I started walking dogs. You think my parents were happy about that? They came over from communist era, and they were like, please God, please get a degree in something. And I go, sorry mom, I'm dropping out of third year to go walk dogs. Knock on wood, again, so grateful to be where I am now. But um, you know, I was joking earlier. I mean, geez, at this point, just because she deals with my dogs, my mom's probably a dog trainer, to social standards.
Probably
Geez, my
better
grandma's a dog
than the
trainer.
majority of the top rated dog trainers. You know what I'm
Honestly,
saying?
you know what though? All jokes aside, she probably is, because she has not only my standards, but my dogs. I mean, these are all super crazy powerful dogs that will gladly rip the leash out of her hands. But anyway, that's more so just to joke around with how kind of ridiculous this industry is in a sense. But how kind of sad it is for people like us, where this is my life. And I mean, don't try and come up here and think that you woke up one day and you're a dog trainer, when I've busted my ass and I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on show fees, entry fees, traveling to shows to compete and
Equipment.
get those titles and equipment. I mean, my own dogs cost more than the average Joe Blow who's put
Yeah.
into their online dog training course. Don't, please do not put us on the same level.
Yeah.
It's hurtful. It really is, because I mean, again, even you, Bill, you're such a phenomenal dog trainer, that and look how much you've put into it, for someone to just walk in and be like, oh, I'm a dog trainer. It's a really shitty feeling, you
Well,
know.
dude, I've had it. I've had people that are, that have told me that I am, the worst of the worst. I've had people not allow people to get dogs adopted from their organizations because they chose me as a trainer.
Yeah.
I've had people that basically claim that I abuse dogs because I believe in corrections and tools that I
Yeah.
use. And you know what? It's just, on one aspect, it's infuriating, but in another, I just see the dogs,
Under education.
and well, and it's just, the dogs prove to me. And that's what I
Oh,
tell people. I was
100%.
like, they're not going to, like, the people, we can sell you on shit, and people can manipulate other people all day long. And that's
Yeah.
why I think the trialing and the shows and all that are really good. And I think that I wish they would have kept the obedience prerequisite for rally and agility,
100%.
because I mean, in the in the late '70s, I think they laxed it, but it's just, I think that it's I don't know, that's why the standards are important. That's why it is, I don't know, but it's also a journey to get there. And that journey, like, people say positive reinforcement, and during that journey you're absolutely positively reinforcing your dog, but it's real. You're freaking
Yeah.
proud of them,
Yeah.
and instead
Oh
of
yeah.
making up something so you can, make it feel good.
A
I
hundred
don't know.
percent. I
Am I
mean,
making
it's
sense?
no, you totally are. No, 100%. I mean, I'm loving what you're saying, and it's so true, because I cannot tell you how many people on Facebook hate me, and I mean hate me.
I don't.
And they've never met me. They've never worked with me. They've never seen my dogs. They think all I do. I mean, I've set out, and again, I have absolutely nothing wrong with e-collars. I use e-collars. I have no issues with e-collars. But just as like a little, let's just see where this goes, I've set out to train Lishka, my oldest dog, who's the female Malinois, for those of you who don't know. I have never once put an e-collar on that dog for any of her training, let alone anything, period.
Yeah.
Because people have been so dead set to tell me, you can't do this without an e-collar, or you're going to kill your dog and fry their brain with an e-collar. Now, again, please do not think that I am anti e-collar. I use e-collars on several of my clients. I tell them to go get e-collars. I'm very pro e-collar. I'm just saying, as a little mini experiment to myself, and this is a dog that has over 20 titles, I've never once had an e-collar on her. I've never, the first 2 years of her life, I never had a prong collar on her. And again, I mean, I use a prong collar on her every single day. I have nothing against them. All of my clients are on prong collars, e-collars, chain collars, slip leads, you name it.
Yeah.
But that's just how kind of fucked up the world is, and how, you pushed me. And I mean, I'm not saying you directly, I'm saying that the world pushed me to make this little kind of experiment to see, I'm going to prove you wrong. I mean, I'm going to prove you so fucking wrong. I'm going to make you look like a little bit of an idiot in that sense. I mean, I had a client who literally, I think I never cry, almost started crying because she has a 10-month-old Doberman, or 11 or 9, or I don't know, somewhere between 9 and 12 months old her Doberman is. I'm just awful with remembering. I have too much to remember anyway.
Year old.
A year-old Doberman who reached out to me actually when the dog was a puppy. I would have been the first trainer, and someone who has never worked with me, has never met me, never nothing. She's a part of this Doberman group or whatever. Never met me in my life. Talked her into saying that I am such an awful person that I'm going to make her cry and I'm going to shame her. Never in my life have I ever had a client tell me that I've shamed them, that I've been mean, that I've anything, exactly like what you're saying, where there's people who hate you who have no idea who the hell you are.
Yeah. They think they got it all figured out, and they're like, 100%. Oh, this person has done this, and that's fucked up.
100%.
I hate that. And you're like, dude, you have no clue.
And this client went to another trainer, which unfortunately didn't go well. Now we're dealing with a year-old intact male Doberman who she started training with me, a couple months ago, whatever. And we're on the road to success, and, she's doing phenomenally and everything. And I remember our first session, I ended up staying there for 3 hours, and we were like, man, I wish if we, she's like, if I didn't have the kids, that we'd be going out for beers right now. Like, man, I wish I met you earlier. And I'm like, this is me. I don't know what people, and again, this is the world we live in. And back to what Linda was saying earlier, where social media has ruined dog training and so many other businesses or industries, that, again, that also
emotionally charged. They're emotionally charged.
And that also ties into, just going back to the other conversation of, pick a trainer who's actually a trainer, titles to prove it, or whatever, whatever your criteria for a trainer is. Mine personally is title to crap at your dogs and prove it. Have a good dog. Show me what your dogs look like. Put your dogs in all these situations and show me that you can train my dog to do this. For me personally, it's titles. I'm huge on titling. All my dogs are titled through the roof. I mean, it's the industry. It's really, really crappy sometimes.
Joe wants to know if Larry knows any trainers in Miami, Florida. And then Erno says, I'm 36 and been training dogs for 15 years, and I still do feel like outing myself as a dog trainer, like finding Chris Fraze, who opened my mind even more and made me think I still don't know anything. That's right. And anybody.
When I go with Ivan to train, which, like I said, Brandon and I have been training with Ivan for years, I feel like a nobody. Not in the sense that he shames me or anything, but in the sense that he has so much information and so much training that my 20 titles on Leishka and 10 titles on Yeti and, whatever are absolutely nothing compared to what champion. A 2-time world level IGP champion can teach me. A lot of people who are very successful in dog training are going to feel like nobodies.
Right. And that feeling says something to you. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you've been in an industry.
It's humbling.
And that's where like Bart Bellin and Michael Bellin, like learning from 100%. Them and then just stopping and coming back and just being like, man, I thought I knew this up and down. Yeah. And but it's also Just like what Larry says, he says, Veronica, I love experimenting. I'm always trying things that would be weird to
I
most.
love it. And that's, you know what? It's so,
That is like art, man. That's like
a hundred
being an
percent,
artist.
100%. And it's so,
And the way you experiment, Larry, is that you're bringing out the artist in the dog too. You're bringing out the
100%.
creativity in the animal. You're being creative, and you're forming the symbiotic relationship. That's
Totally.
that's that
And I
that's
sometimes, I
beautiful.
mean, it's 100%. I've never necessarily called it experimenting. I more so call it trial and error. But it's the same thing. It's exactly what I think you're obviously doing, Larry, with your clients and whatnot. But I always tell people, I think honestly, even today, I sent someone a recommendation on what to do, again, virtually, because it's the best we've got. But I sent
For now.
someone yeah, exactly for now. I sent someone a suggestion because what I suggested a couple of days ago didn't work. Now, whether or not that's the dog or the client or it actually didn't work or whatever, who knows? But I said, I honestly verbatim said, it's trial and error at this point.
Yeah,
I'm not a magician. I don't have all of the answers.
we're gonna go with what
So
works.
exactly, 100%. So Larry, I mean, obviously, hashtag fangirl over here.
Hashtag fanboy.
It 100%. There are some things that you're doing. I mean, you've taught me some stuff.
Me too,
You
buddy.
100% have shown me certain things on your videos that you're so open with that I've been like, I've never even thought of that. Like it
The
never even crossed my
confusion thing,
mind.
the confusion
Totally.
get is huge. In fact, Larry, I want you
Totally.
back on here, man. We need to do another one while
Yes.
everybody's at home and stuff. So everybody keep an eye out for Larry. Larry's
Yes.
coming on. Amen. The dogs
We're just
react beautifully.
automatically saying Larry's coming back on, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I've already signed you up. Larry says, Amen. The dogs react beautifully when they are provided something they've never seen.
100%.
Well, and you can see them kind of looking at it like, okay, what is this? What's going on here? And when
Yeah.
they're open and ready, and they're they come into it with open arms. Is all I can.
100%.
They embrace a
100%.
challenge, and
Totally.
instead of when other dogs will shut down with some
Yep.
training that we do, and you see what we call flat dogs or whatever,
Yep.
um,
I always call them deaf
Larry,
dummies.
you'll never see a flat dog with Larry. You'll never, and that's why I go to
Yeah.
these trainers that I go to is the dogs show me, and the dogs show me, and a lot of times, like even that's how I found Adrian Little at a
Yes.
conference, is I looked at her dog and I followed her dog right back to her, and I was like,
Where's the
you
dog going?
trained this dog, right? She's like, yeah, I did, and she just had this flip back to heel
Yep.
that I was very impressed with, and I just like talking to people that have a good, solid relationship with their dogs. That's
100%.
true. And, I also tell people, just like I was asking you earlier about how fast does it take you to find if somebody's worked with their dog. I tell people, just look at how often the dog looks at their person,
Oh,
or look.
100%.
And a lot of people, they'll watch and watch and watch and watch and watch, and the dog never, ever looks back to them, ever.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I usually just call it checking in, where it's like my dog's constantly, whether they're on leash healing, off leash healing, they're always looking at me. Where am I? Where am I going? What way am I going? This and that.
Yep,
Not
checking
out
in.
of, I'm going to
Not
die, if
obsessive
I
or
don't
like
listen, or
it's just right
obsessive, or like,
there,
oh my
like
God, I need to be up
just
your
kind of
ass.
yeah,
But it's
getting a
like, cool, where are we going? Where are we going? What we doing? Where we're going? It's this fun, excited, like, ooh, what's next? And I love that. I love seeing that.
Leanne or Paul says, I'm not a trainer and Larry's one of my heroes. Yep. He's just got a good demeanor, good he's just a great guy, man. Veronica
Oh,
rocks,
Leanne.
supported and pushed and cheered us on.
Miss you
We got our
guys.
first title. She
She's
definitely
awesome.
inspires those around her to do better.
Aw, that's really sweet of you, Leanne, honestly. And this is a good example of someone that I haven't talked to in probably a month at least, maybe even more.
Original
Where
CGN crew represent.
yes, 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 yes. Sasha and Leanne, they all did their CGNs with me. And Leanne is a phenomenal representation of someone who, I mean, she kicks ass. And I mean, that is a dedicated woman there. And this goes back to where I do really sometimes feel like crap because I can't touch base with everyone all the time or as often as I would like. And, Leanne's one of those people where I love working with her and I love giving her advice and I love supporting her among, obviously along with everyone else. Um, and it's like, frig, man, I wish it's been so long since
Frig man.
yes,
Did you say?
frig, man. It's
Frig.
been,
Pump my tires. And
it's been a
frig.
hot minute since, we last spoke but I mean, she kicks ass and I hope that everyone, not just Leanne, but everyone that I haven't talked to recently knows that I think of you guys and I, am totally cheering you on. And when I get messages like I did from, the lady that I was telling you about how I had her dog for board and train in October and, time flies and it's been a couple months and she sent me a video today out of nowhere. And it's like, man, I forwarded that video to Brandon. I was like, look at this. Like, this is crazy. This is like, I love this shit. I love it so much because I don't get the opportunity to think of all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients that I need to be like, hey, how are you doing? What are you doing? Like, that's not my job, but I do also want to do that. It's just I have no time to do that. Nor is that something that I'm constantly thinking of. But I am thinking of those clients and I'm like, man, I really hope they're doing good. I really, I haven't heard from them, and then occasionally I'll reach out or they'll reach out and I'm just like, awesome. I'm so glad that everything is still going well. And I make it very clear on drop off day, for example, or during sessions that please reach out to me, whatever it is, like the second you see the dog slipping, message me. Maybe I can help you, or when I'm before this whole COVID stuff, when I'm back and forth. I mean, if I'm in Tampa and you're in Florida, or anywhere. I mean, we've got clients all over the place. I have a lady in Montreal, which is about, for those of you who don't know, about 2.5 hours away from where we are in Ottawa, who drives to Ottawa to drop her dog off and stuff for board and trains and does training with me. And it's like, keep me in the loop. I may be in Tampa, but I might actually be able to help you just at least virtually for now. Don't be afraid to reach out. Just because I'm not in the city doesn't mean I'm like gone forever and you can't reach out to me and, you can't check in with me when you have an issue or a hiccup happening. So again, it goes back to kind of what Linda was saying where, social media does suck, but at the same time, I would say if I had to stay positive, that's one of the positives of it is the fact that it's so easy for me to get in touch with people. Yeah, I mean, that's
it's just so easy to be fake too. That's what Linda.
100%, and that's that's where I think Linda was going with it. Where it's like there are so many people who are so full of shit on Instagram and Facebook. It's ridiculous.
On YouTube too, that make a video.
Oh yeah,
and dude, I can look at a video and just like what you say, like what we were saying, like I can look at videos and how I find dogs and trace the dog back to the trainer.
Yeah.
I find those videos too of these trainers that are putting up these dogs that are flat as
they're deaf, dumb mutes. Yeah. They're like, fuck, hopefully you don't kill me.
And they're just like, they're just like laying down. You can just see them. They're just like in this like kind of weird, traumatized. They're traumatized.
My dogs are like
what I see. Yeah, totally.
And I'm like
yeah. And that's it, Joe wants to know how do you train Liska the crate command without an e-collar? All my dogs are crate command trained without e-collars too.
Every dog that I train, can it be done with an e-collar? Of course. I don't do it with an e-collar. I do it with a good old fashioned leash. And I put her in the, as puppies, I guide them into their crates. And then I do threshold training with the crate door so that they understand, hey, just because, with time, of course, this is going to happen with one try. But I do threshold training with that crate door and I make them understand just because the door's open doesn't mean you get to fly out. Although Lishka and Yeti and Sela, they love to just like, I'm like, you stay fuck in there. It's really,
it's in the moment type of thing too,
But it's totally 100%. I mean, if you can't crate train a dog, to go in, without an e-collar. You know,
So what I do in my, I mean, I'll grab them by the scruff if they try to, like, I'll just grab them and
oh,
just be
just
like,
throw them
look,
in
look,
there.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'll give them and I'll push them
Yes.
right up to the door and
Yeah.
I'll let go and be like, this is your choice. Which way are you
Yeah.
going to go? You go this way, your scruff's getting grabbed. If you go this
Yeah.
way, you're getting praised and you're going to get loved up,
I love that
But
story
it's very
too.
soft, nothing, it's
Oh,
very in the
100%.
moment. It's just a puppy. It's a baby we're dealing with. And it's
Oh
like,
yeah. I
and
mean,
we're
Sue
being
was an
fair,
11-week-old puppy, I'm basically just grabbing her and put her in there
way
right
too much
now.
e-collar usage.
I love that Larry said that. It's
Larry,
totally true.
what
We're
did
having
Larry
you
just
back
say? My
on.
man. Yeah, well, Larry is known for e-collars, and what did he
Exactly.
just
And
say? Way too much e-collar usage.
exactly. Like I love, I've got Larry's book. I mean,
I
I've
do
got
too.
Larry on
Where is
Facebook.
that
I
somewhere?
watched all his videos. And to have someone like Larry even say way too much e-collar usage, it's like hallelujah. 100% agree with you.
Yeah,
I
or
see
too
these people.
quickly. Do you know what
I
Bart said to me? He says the dog needs to learn or hear you whisper with the e-collar before you yell with the e-collar.
100%. I mean, you cannot be dependent on it. That is not, you know, it, I have clients that I come to with literally, I mean, 3-month-old dogs that are on e-collars. And I'm like, have you developed any relationship with this dog yet? Do you know how to develop a relationship with the e-collar? Those are two different things. Developing a relationship without e-collar and then developing a relationship with e-collar. So I
Mm-hmm.
go, okay, dude, you brought this dog home two nights ago, and you're nailing it on the e-collar because it's whining in its crate, and it's like, are you high? Like, like what? Why? I don't get it. Like, there's a time and place for the e-collar. An e-collar is a phenomenal tool,
Absolutely.
and I am so pro e-collar, but there is a time and place for it in your
Yes.
dog's life from the day that you pick the dog up
Yes.
to later on. I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong, Larry, but did you put an e-collar on a 6-week-old Mango for whining in her crate, or not healing on leash? Like, that's the shit I see. Like,
Yeah.
you know
Well, I just see e-collar, 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 and just like what you did without the e-collar being trained. And people, if you're going in the ring, that all this equipment has to come off. If you want to get obedience title, and
exactly.
like like this stuff is just decoration. Once this comes
100%.
off, if your dog acts totally different, then you don't have a trained dog. You have an influencer or
100%.
a cue that gets the dog to happen. But once that comes off, then they don't respect you, they respect
100%.
the equipment, right?
And a lot of people, I mean, I'm very
My
open about.
dogs rarely see an e-collar.
There you go. There you go. And it's true. I mean, I own an e-collar. I own e-collars. But those are generally for, dogs that are in training or people who have chosen the e-collar program. But that, again, just like Larry, my dogs, Leishka, for example, specifically, and again, that goes back to our little, experiment because people were, shitting on me so much. It was like that dog has probably never in her life, maybe twice, had an e-collar on her in her 3.5 years of existence. And I'm very open about what titles my dogs have. All of our dogs are on the website. All of their titles are on the website. All of our sponsors are on the website. All of my certifications, my highlights, things that I've accomplished. I'm an AKC judge, for example. That stuff is all on there. I mean, the languages
I
I
would be
speak are
nervous to
on my
have you judge
website.
me.
You
I'd be
know,
nervous.
it's
I'd be like, damn it.
there's all of these things that there's the clubs that I'm a part of, the memberships that I hold. I mean, I've got my firearms training on there for people to know who I am, and what have my dogs accomplished, what is each dog's role. All of that is on our website, and I think that goes back down to tying back into that whole who's a legitimate trainer and not. I'm not here to pump my tires, of course, but it goes back to what makes me a dog trainer, and who I owe my credit to, because of course the credit for Teresa and Greg, who we talked about earlier, and Ivan and Natalia is on my website. Do not think for a second that I'm here going, oh, I, pulled all this shit out of my ass, because I didn't. Everyone starts somewhere. You've got Bart, I've got Ivan,
Yeah.
and I will
And I got Tony
forever, ever,
Anchetta, and I got the others that before
100%.
him.
I mean,
But
my main four. I mean, they're even on. Like we talked about, one of my sponsors is Gunner Kennels. On that website, they even have a question in there on my profile on their website. Who's your mentor? Teresa and Greg Connors Chan, and Ivan and Natalia Balbanov. I will forever, ever, ever mention who has brought me to where I am and why, who I owe my success to or who I owe anything to. I mean, the support of
yes,
my family, my friends, I mean, my staff, all of those people go absolutely mentioned all over my website, my Instagram, my Facebook, my this, my that. There are no hidden things on there. You want to work with me, go make sure that you want to work with me and you know who I am, in the sense that if you're looking for example, scent detection, that's not my forte. I don't like it. We've got one guy who actually just applied. He's a certified narcotics trainer for law enforcement, and he just, we're working on figuring out logistics there. But
I'm doing it. I'm going to do a big old series with some scent detectors that
oh,
I'm
I can
lining up
totally hook
right
you up.
now.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so, and I want to talk about pseudoscience and then
Totally. But
if
I'm
it's
not
real and
sitting
all that.
here going, hey, I train dogs for police and military, therefore I can do obedience, protection, scent work, this, that.
Right.
No, my thing is obedience and protection. Scent work, I'm going to send you somewhere else because I just don't enjoy doing it. I track for IPO because, or IGP shits and whatever people want to call it. I track because I have to, but I don't like teaching tracking. I don't offer tracking. I don't I can get you started on, hey, start with this, but then go hitch a ride with, Ivan or Natalia or one of my handlers or anything like that, because they can handle that, teaching you that a lot better than I would. Because the other thing is that if I don't enjoy teaching it, you're really not going to get anything out of it.
And you're gonna know it
And you're
too,
going to
because
know I hate teaching it.
yeah, it's something that, and I think that it's very important to talk about our mentors and to think. One of my
100%.
favorite quotes is by Isaac Newton, and it's, if I have seen further, it is but by standing on the shoulder of giants.
100%.
And that's it, is that we thank those that have came before us. And I think sometimes I see some trainers that are like, no, this is all me. This is
You're
all
so,
me.
it's like you're so
I
full of shit.
invented it all. Yeah,
You're
I
so
invented
full of
all
shit. Your
this.
eyes are brown. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where I'm like, I mean, I even have people who I have quote brought into the show world, i.e., I was the first person who went with them to show them what being at a show is like and teaching them, hey, these are the rules or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But again, I also came from someone else before that. But, there are a lot of people that are trainers right now who, once upon a time didn't believe in titling their dogs. Once upon a time, wouldn't have known, for example, showing, again, totally going to sound so like full of myself, but they wouldn't have known dog shows or trialing if it wasn't for me in a sense.
Yeah.
We were friends and they went, hey, what are you doing? Or why are you doing that? Hey, this is why I'm doing it. This is, educating them on why I show my dogs, why I title my dogs, and why I'm so gung ho on it. And now magically they're, going competing X, Y, and Z. And it's like, don't forget where you came from. And I'm not saying that to me, I'm saying that in general, as you will never not hear me talk about Greg, Teresa, Ivan, Natalia, etc., etc., etc. I will forever scream their names from the rooftops.
Same with
Because
me,
guess
with
what?
Michael and Bart Bellin,
Thousand
and
percent. If it
yes,
wasn't for them, I would not be where I am today, and I would not be able to teach you what they've taught me. You know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean,
Jackie
it's important.
Barbieri, uh, Tony Anchetta. I mean,
Totally.
there's just so many. I mean, even all these talks, like I learned from
Yeah.
people like I did these talks just to, to just chat and to introduce people, but I've learned more
Totally.
myself
Totally.
personally. So we have a little thing going on here in our comments. I'm not sure, to be honest, what no means. So but my dog gets it once, or hold on, Joe. But my dog gets once I get far, they know the desired behavior, but they don't care when I say no. Erno says, how do
Relationship.
they know when you say no, Joe? And then Joe says, I'm not sure, to be honest. They know what it means, though. If I say no, sometimes they'll stop whatever they're doing. We got a good bond and relationship. And then Erno says, so you need to get
Go to
them.
bed.
Hello.
Go lie down.
She's been like, you're talking too long, Mom.
I
Um,
know.
so you need to get them to know what a no means, even if you have a distance. Your correction isn't a correction anymore after a certain amount of distance. That's absolutely right. Thanks. I'll look into that. We've been working on the crate for a month now, and we're going nowhere. Might even introduce some leash, just like Veronica said about the leash pressure too. I'm
Yeah.
sure Veronica and Bill will help you with that. And then Skyla says, you've always been incredibly open with who's helped you and where you are, Veronica, and I respect that so much. And I
Aw,
do
thank
too.
you.
Absolutely. I mean,
No,
because then it's
100%.
traceable. And not only that, but you're standing up and being like, this is who I am. And this is
100%.
what I have to prove that I know what the hell I'm doing. And this is what I have that's going to make you confident that you're putting your money in the right place
Totally.
when you
Totally.
hire me. So here we go. We got to boil down to, hey, Veronica and Bill, quick question. How do I train my dogs no from a distance? You want to go
You
first?
added your Instagram handle. I will get to you on Instagram because now I know
Yeah,
you.
let's see what the Instagram handle was. I don't know. Find me on the Instagram at Bow Wow Bill is my Instagram. I have Church Glass too, but Bow Wow
Yeah.
Bill
Also,
is.
your glass work is phenomenal, by the way.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to make you something.
Ah.
So go ahead with the. What do you think the no
No,
from a
I mean,
distance?
for me, there has to be some sort of a negative associated with it, right? Dogs don't speak English. They're not going to know what no means right off the bat.
Right.
It's going to be one of those things where no leash pop,
Yeah.
no, whatever your, correction of choice is. I'm not here to tell
And
you.
even I mean, I would time it to like you have the crate, you have the right answer here, and that's the
Yeah,
thing here is that we need to know that the dog knows the right answer. We need to show him the right answer before we start to introduce some corrections
totally.
to that. And so in and out, in and out, in and out, and I might even use that leash pressure to pull him in. He said that they
100%.
go in until he goes away,
Yeah,
and so then I would look at that threshold, say like it's 5 feet away. Once I get 5 feet away from this crate, the dog tries to bolt out of there.
totally.
Okay. And then I might even have two lines on them. I might even have the regular leash line. I might even have a long line or a longer nylon
I work a
ripcord or
lot on
something.
long lines as well.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Long lines are undervalued, I think,
I
in the
know.
dog training
And they're
world.
so
So much can be complex.
inexpensive. They're such an
Yeah,
inexpensive training
I have
tool.
one in my vest pocket. I just have my training vest pocket. I have a roll of like
100%.
like 200 feet nylon that I always have just for my clients. I'll cut them off a piece or something
Totally.
like that. And then we want to direct. Now, once he tries to fly out of there, then I might use that long line to have the dog correct themselves, give the command again so he knows exactly what's expected, and then work
100%.
on that. And that's what how I would do it is structure it in a way where the dog kind of corrects themselves.
Exactly. I mean, I usually, for example, with crate training, I will pair the no with like threshold work. So, if I'm gonna, if they try and bolt it and I just close the door on them essentially, and I'm like, where do you think you're going? There's where your no is gonna come in place.
Right.
If they're foraging or whatever, I can implement a no there. I can
I'll even do it. No and at
yeah,
is kind of like
exactly.
a warning. Like, dude,
I do like a
you're
hey.
yeah, yeah. Out, like a lot of you out,
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah. No,
but
I
the
mean
best thing to do is just to work on it, and just kind of take a
100%.
30,000 foot view of what's going on
The
and
other
looking
thing,
for that.
the other thing that I always tell people is remember that, the relationship with your dog is like a spider web. Just because you're having an issue in the crate, that may not be your issue. For example, if you come to me and you go, my dog, you know, is pulling on leash. That's my issue is the dog's pulling on leash. And I go, no, the issue is you haven't taught the dog not to pull on leash. So the dog's doing what it thinks it knows. You've never actually showed the dog how to heel on leash. You know,
Yeah. And if you
it's a
understand
bigger
negative
picture than that. You know
reinforcement,
what I mean?
right? Like if you're understanding negative reinforcement, the dog is fighting for that end result of
100%.
whatever that is, the park or that's the free time to sniff, the
A hundred
bathroom
percent.
break, and they're fighting, 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 fighting. Ah, relief.
1,000%. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It really is. And again, that also pairs into, this whole dog trainer talk. If you can't understand the four quadrants at an absolute minimum, there's a problem. like, but think of dog training as a spider web where you may be having issues in this area, because you have issues in this area, which is actually a bigger problem, for example.
Yes.
If your dogs aren't
Yeah.
listening to you, that's a relationship issue. If, let's say, you've trained them and you're like, well, I mean, I've done the work and taught them X, Y, and Z. They're either going, I don't give a shit what you say because I don't give a shit about you, or they're going, I don't understand because you haven't taught me enough. Those are two different issues that you're going to be dealing with, right?
Yes. But a lot of people confuse the first one when it mostly is the second one.
100%. Chances are you just haven't done it enough. And
Yeah.
Alice, Demi, who has a dog named Alice, a lot of the time she'll message me going, hey, how does this look? I'm like, this looks freaking awesome, but keep doing it.
Keep
And
it
Demi
up.
is someone
Keep it up.
who can attest to that in terms of, there's a lot of times where I'm like, yeah, that looks great, but keep doing it. You need to keep reinforcing that. And a lot of people either don't teach enough or don't teach for long enough, right? And then again, it ties
There is
into
no finish line here, folks. Like once you've
exactly.
achieved it, like don't stop. Go more.
Exactly.
Like
I mean,
bring it.
even healing, like even the people who reach out to me as just pet people, companion dogs. I mean, once your dog knows sit, stay, come, heal, what's next? Okay, what about healing off leash? Or what about auto sits? What about auto behaviors? What about, there's always more. It
What
doesn't
about you
stop.
leaving the direction where the dog can see you? Seeing
Exactly. There
it's
is
just
always something to do.
to
I mean,
build
you're
on
in
it.
motions, you're down in motion, you're sit in motion, you're stand in motion, you're about turns. You can work on position works, pivots. I mean, there's so much that you can
Fronts
work
and
on.
finishes.
Thousand
Yeah.
percent. I mean, your dog has recall. Okay, well now do recall with a front, and don't just say, okay, come in this general area. Go. I want you in
Boom.
front of me every time I recall you.
Yeah.
And that comes from obviously competitive obedience, competitive healing, Schutzhund, all that stuff. But again, there is never a finish line. There is I have a better behaved dog than 90% of the dogs, but there is no finish line. There's always going to be more. And I mean, heck, even us, like there's so many titles out there that I still want to get with Lishka, who's now the oldest dog out of the three that I'm still working on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Let alone we've got Yeti and Sela as well. And so, there is never an end. There is an end when obviously you get sick and tired of it and the dog's old or whatever. Like,
Well,
who knows?
even that is a totally different because my dogs are going deaf now. So now it's a totally different
It's a different
like
type of training.
interaction with them. That's right.
I mean, I tell people all the time that before I got into working with police and military, for those of you that don't know, hi, that's what I do.
Oh yeah, well tell
I
people
was,
what you do. No.
yeah, exactly. I was training dogs, like therapy dogs and service dogs and whatnot, primarily service dogs for kids with autism and veterans with PTSD, which led me into working with working dogs for police and military. And so, for me, I always tell people, I'm like, what about the dogs that need to run on autopilot? I mean, think of all the different type of training that goes into that. I mean, you have one of the service dogs I've trained is with a boy at the time. This would have been, I don't know, like 6 years ago. This one particular example that I'm working with, he was, I don't know, 12 or something at the time. You better hope that your 60-pound dog knows what it's doing, because the 12-year-old kid sure as shit doesn't. And this dog has tasks. And for example, I mean,
that dog.
1,000%. And furthermore, I mean, the clients, the pet dogs, for example, who are blind or deaf, I mean, we have to be so creative with, I mean, okay, dog's blind. What are you going to do? How are you going to teach it? You need to start getting creative, and you need to start understanding that just because it's blind doesn't mean it can't be trained. It means that you need to start figuring out, okay, how can we get this? Now, let's just say it's some sort of an accident happened and they knew everything now, before then, and now they don't. You need to start getting creative with, okay, this is how we were doing it before. How do I get that end result still, but now the dog's blind or deaf or whatever? For me, for example, deaf dogs, e-collar is a really great tool for that. For
Absolutely.
me personally, I love using the e-collar on deaf dogs.
Me too.
And yeah, I mean, you just
I've had a blind, and deaf dog.
I have one of my staff, she has up in Ottawa, she's got a blind and deaf dog as well. And I'm like,
Stomp on the
Taylor
ground, man.
represent.
I have to use like when I'm on the, like, I stomp on the ground, and then she like lifts up her head, and it's like, and then I'll put my hand out, and she sniffs, and then you can see her that recognition. And once she's given me some recognition that she knows who I am, then I will guide her out. But I'm an advocate for her, and I let her feel my leg.
100%.
And so she goes by my leg, and so that's it. And I mean, there's just, but it's an honor for me to work with her. Hey.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's so cool when you think of the fact that, I mean, don't forget about the fact that
Macy.
they can still feel, they can still smell, exactly those
They have
examples that
wants
you
and
gave.
desires. They have wants and desires that are just as important to that animal as your
A
wants and
thousand percent.
desires are to you, right?
1,000%. Thousand
You know,
percent. No, I mean,
Kenzie, let's say, Kenzie, I wouldn't show titling if it weren't for you, V. All my successes thus
uh,
far is credited to you. And of course, my husband, gotta mention that, but you've done the whole
well,
new door, the dog world for me.
so her
And there is,
husband and her have kicked absolute ass, and it just so
good
happens
job,
that
Kenzie.
they are a
Good
part of
job.
they're a part of our Tampa Working Connect team here, and
Keep it up.
yeah, and Anthony is one of our handlers on base who is absolutely phenomenal. And he's had a couple dogs now that we've been working together. He's had a couple dogs, like working dogs on base that he's been assigned to, and dog after dog. I mean, he is so. They have just come so far,
Hold on one second.
and
Keep talking.
no, no worries. They have just come so far. And I mean, when we started thinking of who's going to make up our Tampa team, once we started getting a little bit more serious down here, it was an absolute no brainer that Kenzie and Anthony had to be on our team because working with them on base has been phenomenal. Working with them outside of, work life has been phenomenal. Creating these friendships and this relationship has been, again, phenomenal. Just 11 out of 10 for both of them. And, can't say enough good things about them. And I mean, one of the things I did suggest to Kenzie was go title your dog. I mean, she's at the point where, I'm not kidding, I mean, their own personal dogs, not the military working dogs, but on base, but their personal dogs are already, I mean, I could probably say they're better behaved than 98% of the world. And I said, well, the
Are
only
they service dogs? No, just kidding.
at this point they might as well be. But I said, I don't know what more quote pet stuff that I can do with you, but I would totally encourage you to do rally obedience, something fun, dock diving. It still challenges you. It gives you new kind of goals to reach and new things to kind of work towards. And so now we're working on rally obedience. And I mean, just last week or whenever, Kenzie was sending me videos of her in motions, her downs in motions, her sit in motion, and all of that stuff. And I mean, just kicking ass. All these people, not my clients or anything, but a lot of, I would say, to generalize, you guys, as in, again, generalizing, do not know how capable your dogs are of doing so many cool freaking things. It's just up to you to find someone, whether it's me, whether it's Bill, whether it's anyone, to kind of guide you down those paths. I mean, a lot of people that I work with don't even know what rally obedience is. They don't even know what showing or titling is. You need to find someone to
and they have a working dog, man, and that's it. It's like they have
totally.
this dog. I've walked up to people that are like, man, that dog is amazing. Where did you
I
get it?
know.
And they're just like, we ordered it from Germany. We got it from Belgium. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, are
I'm like,
these,
do you know what you have?
yeah. And then I'm like, what work are you doing with them? And they're like, oh, we got him in the Petco, or we got him in, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, oh my
Some local pet
goodness.
store training stuff, and I'm like,
Well, they definitely
the
dropped a
potential.
dime. They dropped a dime on this dog. I mean, that's it. It's like,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. It's like, look, you're going to spend at least 5 times, I want to say, what you pay for your dog. At least that's a good number, I think.
Yeah, we pay a lot of money for our dogs.
Yeah, a lot.
I don't even know if I want to say the number.
I mean, people. I mean, the most that I've ever seen a dog was 13,000 for a Mal, green Mal puppy, and so I don't know if it's
So
that much,
that
but
by
Really?
I mean, I know of dogs that I've sold for close to
Well,
a 100,000.
I know dogs, but I'm talking green. Like, are you talking
Oh,
green?
green dogs,
Yeah,
40. I've seen $40,000 for a
puppy.
4-month-old dog,
Oh,
puppy.
wow.
Yeah, 40,000 ish.
Sasha says one other upside of social media is Veronica has a nice crew of people she's connected through social media. It's not local, but I show up every now and then to make a nuisance of myself. Keep it up.
Oh,
And
keep it up.
keep it up
No,
because
Sasha
it's a
has
great gang.
incredibly well behaved. I mean, as you can see in that in her little profile picture there,
Yeah,
that's one of her cattle dogs, and I mean, she's got titles on them, and we've actually shown together,
excellent.
and she kicks ass. She's awesome.
The happy cattle dog is a good thing, man.
Exactly.
She says it's a great gang of goal-oriented, hard-working people who are good and fun to be around. Yep, surround yourself with good people, man.
Totally,
You know, your
100%. I
network.
think that's really what it is. You know, people, no matter what industry you're in, um, you know, whether you're a physician or a dog trainer for our household, for example, there's
Yeah,
always going to be someone who's going to say, oh, no, that's not right. Oh, no, that's not correct. Or, you know, oh, that's not this, that's not that. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, okay, you know, okay,
yeah.
that's all.
Okay,
That's all I can say.
you've got to figure it
But
out.
again, I
Good for
really
you.
try. It's true. I mean, I really try not to be. You know, there's a lot of obvious. You know, there's a lot of social media accounts out there. Again, no matter the industry, that they have stories that are just filled with rants. It's just rants and rants and rants and rants, and it's like, why? I mean, yeah, okay, I'm not going to lie. I've posted a couple of COVID-19 posts, but it's not, you know, the past story that I did today. One of the things that I specifically mentioned was, hey guys, today, you know, we're doing a live with Bill. We're going to try not to talk about COVID-19. Uh, you know,
What's COVID-19? No, just kidding.
oh my God, you literally had me for a split second. I was like,
So Joe, a couple things.
oh my God.
Skyla says, "Say no after the leash popper at the same time." Same time for me. I mean, but
So
it's
to each their own. For me, I try not to for me I try to be mindful of, and again, this is like nanoseconds, right?
dude. No,
uh
no pop and then no, like the leash
exactly.
pop right before and then no. You know.
Exactly. One of the really great things that Ivan taught me was that for me personally, it wasn't working to do it at the same time because my dog was too reliant on um, basically, unless the leash pop happens, then keep doing what you're doing despite what you're saying. For example, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if I explained that to you know correctly,
Yeah.
but for me, what really worked was something that Ivan taught me, where it was, you know, say it and then add your reinforcer if you need to, i.e., your leash pop, whether it's you know you're negative or positive. It doesn't you know again depends on the situation or whatnot. But for
Yeah.
me, I would go no correction again in a matter of nanoseconds. At that point, it's you know don't wait 5 minutes to give your correction or anything like that, because there is a little bit of an
Yeah.
expiry date
Immediately. Boom.
in terms of my
Yeah.
training. But I think that I know people who do it at the same time. I know people who do it before. I know people who do it after. Um, you know, for example, for my turns, I'll give a correction before I do anything actually, just so that I can essentially I'm kind of like prompting the dog as to what's going to happen. You
Yeah.
know, so I'll correct and then start turning, just so the dog is you know kind of checked in with me a little bit more. Um,
Jay
but
Jack was
again,
having a thing about correct or praising a correction, like rewarding a correction to get the dog kind of. I don't even.
so
I don't know about it. I got to talk to him a little bit more about that.
yeah,
But
totally. I'm
word then
not
correction.
super.
That's what Larry says. Word
Yeah,
then correction.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and that's the again to each their own, right? That's
No.
what works for
Boom.
me.
Cool. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's actually what I do too. Now that I'm thinking about it. No. Boom. And then
Yeah,
let him.
it sounds simultaneous to someone who doesn't really, let's say, you know, to someone who doesn't really know what they're looking at or whatnot. But if we're, again, like I said, bringing it down to almost like nanoseconds, milliseconds, seconds, usually what I do is I'm going to say no, correction. And then the only time that I do something before is going to be if I'm doing turns, but that's not a correction. That's more of like a hey, this is what we're about to do. And
Yeah.
I'll go, let's just call it a correction, even though it's really not. It's like a little leash
Guidance.
tap almost. And then
Yeah.
I'll start my turn, just so that the dog understands kind of what I'm doing. But again, that's not even on the same realm of correction, because it's not a correction. It's almost like, helping the dog and just letting them know, hey, this
Realize.
is what we're about to do.
It's like, pay attention, dude.
Whereas
Hey, you know.
Exactly. Whereas what Skyla is referring to in terms of the no, like an actual negative of some sort, it's going to be no correction. And then again, working on a 10 scale in terms of that correction. Do not start at a 10 and blow your dog's head off. Like, there is absolutely no need to do that. There are a lot of people that I know that are incredibly heavy handed. And I'm like, listen up here, dude. You're at a 12. I need you at a 2. And that's not to say, the dog tries to rip your face off. I mean, okay, don't be like, hey, Joe Blow, please don't do that. Like, there's going to be a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, everything within
But
reason.
it's still
Like
like if a guy steps on your foot, or you're not going to knock him out.
well,
It's like, well,
exactly. I mean, it's like assess the situation, figure out
yes.
what's appropriate. Give me 1 second. My computer is just about to not die on me, but I got that little warning.
Well, we're gonna be wrapping it up here pretty soon too. So just so you know,
Perfect.
Joe says, does a handler's age impact the influence in the dog's behavior?
No,
He's 15 years old. He says so.
no. I know
No,
someone who. I mean, look at
good for you for wanting to do what's good for your dog at 15 years old,
totally.
buddy.
Look at Diamond and Christina Hansel's son. I believe he's maybe 9, and he got an IGP 3, which is the third level of. For those of you who don't know, it's the third level, or the highest title of Schutzhund that you can get, IGP 3. So it goes BH, IPO 1, IPO 2, IPO 3, or IGP, whatever you guys want to call it. And he's, I think, like 8 or 9. And Christina and Diamond have been on the world team for Schutzhund, and they've got a Notfotosha dog that their son has trialed at an IGP 3.
Yep. Yep.
And like
So
I said, I think he's like 8 or 9. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's
that's
very
pretty
young.
awesome.
He did that, and so that's a cool dog and a cool handler duo.
So kind of like
Totally,
horse
yeah,
and hen. Yeah, a lot of it correlates. A lot
yeah,
of it. The only thing that doesn't really correlate is that the herbivore of the horse versus the predator of the dog, and so
totally.
there's some disconnect on
That
approachment
level.
and stuff. Yeah, that doesn't. But dude, Veronica, we've been talking for a couple hours. It looks
I
like.
know. I'm sorry, everyone.
No,
Oh
don't
my
be sorry.
gosh. I put it in my calendar for an hour, and I'm
I
like,
know.
ooh.
He has
Well,
a
I
lot to
guess we'll
say.
post it. People can watch the rest later if they've gone to eat dinner or gone to bed or whatever.
Yeah, it'll be up for forever,
I'm like,
and you can
ooh.
download this and repurpose it any way you'd like. But I'm going
Awesome.
to say goodbye to you on the other end, so stay on
Totally.
the line. But let's
I
say goodbye to
will. I
all of our
will.
people.
Definitely. And obviously, anyone who's been watching, hopefully, you know where to find us. I'm not too sure.
What would be the best way to find you?
Yeah, I mean, the best way to find us is either, I mean, we're very kind. We only have a couple videos on YouTube, so I'm
Thanks,
not
Larry.
going to reference that. But on Instagram, we're at the WK9, which would stand for the Working Canine. So at THEWK9. And so you should see our page there. And then the Happy Tails page is at HTPCS, which stands for Happy Tails Pet Care Services Canada. Both of those can be found on our Facebook pages,
Okay.
which again, The Working Canine is our Facebook page, or our website, www.theworkingcanine.ca. And you can read, all about our team there. We've got, that'll kind of link you to the pet care side of things too. But in terms of this kind of live, I think the real kind of important, or I should say the meaningful pages to mention are our Instagram pages, which are again at the WK9, and our website, which is theworkingcanine.ca. And then we're obviously on Facebook as well. So am I. So if you type in Veronica Malkova on Facebook, it'll, I'm sure, link you somehow, somewhere. Go to Bill's mutual friends, you'll find me, or
Yep.
his likes or something.
Yeah, and I just posted up to your Happy Tales Facebook
Awesome.
page. I'm going to see what else we got here as far as links that I can post up. I'll post up all the links here, the
Awesome. I
workingk9.ca.
appreciate that, Bill. And I
Yeah, I
mean,
appreciate
everyone
you.
for watching. I'm so glad that you guys watched. And, any questions, fire them off to Bill or I. And Bill is just as awesome as I am.
Whatever.
No, Bill is a really cool guy. And I'm so glad that, you even thought of me. And again, I mean, let's not remind ourselves that it's been months.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm
Maybe
so
years,
glad
man.
that I know
Well,
it's been 2 years. I mean, geez.
and I
You
think
know,
that
I
I have
Go ahead.
people that I bring on that I have kind of vetted out myself, and I've met
Yeah.
met your dog, and I know that you're the real deal. And
Aw,
so
thank
that's why I was adamant and why I never gave up. And I'm
I
happy we
loved
did
it.
this.
I
This
mean,
was great.
you know what though? I'm not even going to call it persistence, but I'm going to call it reminders that
Yeah.
I'm so, you know, um, like grateful and really, it really does mean a lot that you cared enough to have me on here and that I am someone that's even on your radar.
Uh-huh.
It's one
We
of those things that
absolutely are.
it kind of goes back to, remembering where you came from in the sense that I think one of the commenters said, I go see this person and I feel like I know nothing. And it's that exact thing where I'm like, Bill, I mean, you're someone that I look up to. And I would have never, before this, I wouldn't have been like, oh, I'm expecting an invite any day now. It was really more so like, I guess I'm a dog trainer. No, despite the
But
titles, despite all the dogs, despite all this,
you've
I'm like,
arrived. Here you
wow,
are.
no, I love it. So I appreciate obviously you having me on here and everyone who's watched and everyone, all of the working canine family who's commented on here and said all the lovely things about us and everyone who I don't know who's watched and even taken the time to watch. I'm really grateful
And shared. If you
and
haven't shared,
shared,
share
yeah,
share
and
right
shared
now.
all of this. And for those of you who are going to watch this later on, and obviously, as always, special shout out to the working canine family down here on base, not on base as well. All of our handlers who kick ass. Anthony, Kenzie, you guys are just my freaking rocks down here, and everyone up in Canada, of course. I feel like I'm getting an Oscar to everyone in Canada.
I'd like
I
to
love
thank
you guys,
my mom
but
for supporting
my
me
mom for
for
dealing
when
with
I
my
walk
dogs and my
dogs. Yeah.
outrageous spending habits. Decades later, I'm still,
That's another
doing dog
show.
shows.
That's a totally another show.
And Brandon for putting up with me and being in this, crazy dog journey and just everyone who's on here and watching and, Bill and all of your people that
Larry
are sharing.
too.
And
Larry was on
Larry, of
here,
course,
and
his
Ivan.
and him telling us how fat fingers he has and
Yeah.
his good giggles and he's always really funny to I mean, I love his posts and I love everything that he posts, like his diet posts, all of them. So yeah, I mean, I'm really really thankful for everyone that's watched and you for having me and hopefully IACP is in September. Let's hope COVID takes a hike and GTFO
Yeah.
out of here and we can still be there. And it is, our beach house is still across from where it's being held at the Trade Wind. So I'm sure I'm going to see you if you're going. Depend.
Absolutely. If it happens, and we'll pick up right where we left off.
Totally, totally. Maybe you can see all the new puppies you haven't seen.
I bring some of my
It's like I
own
only brought
for
Leash
you
the
to see
last time.
too.
Like, uh, anyway. No, I appreciate you having me on here, and it's so awesome to talk dogs with you and with everyone. And I guess our opinion matters, right?
That's right. Well, but it's that we're authentic and we love what we do.
Totally, totally,
We are real, and that is the truth.
totally. No, 100%. And yep, I mean, I'm never gonna stop being honest and myself because in a world of Instagram likes and follows, you don't know who's true and who's not. At least,
That's right.
at
I
least
like it, dude.
I'll
I
stay
like
the way I
honesty.
am.
I like being truthful, and I love girls that work powerful dogs. You know?
I may be in a dress right now, but if you scroll through those Instagram pictures, I
Yeah.
mean, there might be a couple badass pictures on there. I'm not gonna lie. I will pump my
Yeah.
tires there.
Yep, pumping your tires. All
Oh
right,
man.
everybody. Well, thank you for
Take
watching
care,
another.
everyone. And Bill, I'm gonna hang on here. We can chat. We can say goodbye after this. I'll let you do your
Okay,
whatever,
work my
however you do
magic.
this.
And then check out the No Breed Bands too. Our
Yes.
sponsor is nobreedbands.com.
Nobreedbands.com.
Clothing line. All right, bye everybody. Catch you next time.
Bye, guys.